Come on in here. Come on in here. Welcome to another edition of What You Mean News. I'm your amazing host here, Crystal Clear. And we got a very, very special video today. Huge video today. And a video I pray that doesn't get me banned on TikTok. Oh my God. Come on in here. I hope everybody's doing okay. This video is going to take the cake and explain a lot of things. So get on in here. I hope everybody's doing well. And if you must know, yes, baby, that government is starting off as horribly as we thought they would. Fall harvest, Maybon season, Samhain, fall equinox is jump starting off to the way it's supposed to be, as everyone ought to know. It is spooky-tober. The government has gone completely spooko, psycho, crazy on the humans of Earth. Sweetheart, this is a war on humans. I don't know how you don't see it. I don't know how you don't see it. But the government is slowly but surely taking our freedom away. And oh my God, are they shifting the timelines and causing all these events to occur? Sweetie, nothing they're doing is natural. Don't get up here and say, oh, the Bible is playing out. No, the fuck it ain't. It's them boys. Don't get up here and say, my God, it's the end of the world. No, it ain't. It's them boys. Listen here. The government has done so much. The government has done so fucking much. And they have stooped so low to take everything from us. But that's okay because, once you realize what type of game these fools is doing and how they're running things and what it all equates to, you will clearly see what the government is doing to you and me. So let's get to it. Listen here. Who would have thought it had come to this? But it has been proven. It's finally out here that yes, your government is creating every natural disaster you can think of so they can usurp land or so they can mine the resources or so that they can get something very valuable that's underneath you that you can't see, but they can see, okay? So let's get to it.
Congress is now confirming that Hurricane Helena did have U.S. government weather weapon planes in it. Now, we already have the tracks. We already have the tail numbers. They don't even hide this crap. It just broke. It's on Infowars.com. Lawmakers briefed on weather modification tech conclude Hurricane Helena was DoD-linked weather weapon deployed against American people. Bombshell. There's Dale Whittington, who we're getting on the show, I think, tomorrow. So there you go, of Geoengineering Watch with Colonel McGregor. Let's go ahead and air these two clips back to back.
The question here is, how does this hurricane's path differ from others that we've seen? I've already had a lot of people call me from the Asheville area, talk specifically about the horrendous damage, and many of them pointed out that that is not Hurricane Alley per se. It's not an area that normally attracts storms. Can you help us understand this?
Well, the bottom line is it was directed there, as the transmission recordings clearly show. They kept that moisture corralled there to deluge in the same location. So, again, these are patented technologies, and the fact that we have the entire so-called meteorological community denying that this is going on to protect their paychecks and pensions is absolutely criminal at this point. We know we have private defense contractors that are neck deep in the patents that manipulate these storms, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin. We know those two in particular do the weather modeling for the nation's weathermen, National Weather Service and NOAA. Again, both agencies have an illegal federal gag order on them. So at this point, this is an emperor has no clothes moment. That's the best description I can give for something that is so blatantly obvious and inarguable, can only be considered weather warfare at this point. And the fact that, again, the so-called science community is denying this manipulation is criminal. It's absolutely criminal, Colonel McGregor.
If you can do so, could you tell us about some of your recent discussions, conversations, briefings that you've had with political leaders from the states in question that have asked you what you think? First of all, what did they specifically ask you, if you can tell us, and how did they respond to your answers?
Yes, Colonel McGregor, I had an hour conference call yesterday with the representatives and senators from the Carolinas, and we presented the data to them to answer their questions about how this manipulation occurs. They realize this was not a natural event. They are trying to digest the fact that their states were literally under assault from weather modification operations that are clearly connected with DoD operations, and we can speculate again on the agendas and objectives being carried out, but the fact that the storm was manipulated is absolutely inarguable. We know that technology to stop these rotations from even occurring has existed for decades with the manipulation of atmospheric pressure zones. HAARP in Alaska is one example many people are familiar with. That's an ionosphere heater. That's a weapon of mass destruction, period. It can cause an electrical chain reaction in the ionosphere, which heats it to extraordinarily high temperatures, which causes the atmosphere to bulge up and down. The downward push creates a high pressure.
Now, let me stop you right here, because when we do our research and we look these things up, sweetheart, when we look up these certain words, whoo, child, don't it speaks for itself. It does. All right. When we look up high frequency active auroral research program, also known as HAARP, it redirects to this. The High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, known as HAARP, is a University of Alaska Fairbanks program which researches the ionosphere. What is the ionosphere? The ionosphere is the ionized part of the upper atmosphere of the Earth from about 48 kilometers, which is 30 miles out for the humans still stuck in the non-metric system, to the 965 kilometers, and in the United States scientific instrumental system is 600 miles out above sea level. A region that includes the thermosphere and parts of the mesosphere and the exosphere. So the ionosphere is ionized by solar radiation, and it plays an important role in the atmosphere, okay? Do not let these fools fool you. Do not let them fool you. They're playing with this goddamn ionosphere. Okay? The ionosphere is ionized by solar radiation, and it plays an important role in the atmospheric electricity. That's why, here's how you know when lightning is real. Real lightning strikes the ground. Fake lightning stops in the sky. If you ever see a lightning bolt that never reaches the ground, it is being literally manually brought to the forefront, okay? Now, it forms the inner edge of the magnetosphere, and it has practical importance because, among other functions, it influences the radio propagation. Now, when we talk about radio propagation, it is the behavior of radio waves as they travel or are propagated from one point to another in a vacuum or in various parts of an atmosphere. That's why they kept sending you messages about your car's warranty. That's why they keep sending you robocalls after robocalls, because it is frequency propagated radio waves, electromagnetic radiation that they're sending out to you. That's why all of your variants are in what? Frequency form, because it's radio propagation that they are sending out to you. Do not be fooled, okay? The DNA has a signal. When you send signals to the DNA, it literally encodes, decodes, or codes what you are reading or what they're trying to receive. So they're sending you signals in and out. Sometimes the signal radiation can literally kill the red blood cells, or it can strengthen the red blood cells. It depends on how your ions, your electrons, and your protons and your neutrons affects it or relates to it. Okay? Please pay attention. So stuff like this is known. Stuff like this is known. Do not be fooled by the government. They are doing it.
Dome that can steer the jet stream, and the same type of manipulation can create low pressure zones. When they have this type of power over the climate system, they can make or break these storms anytime they want. And again, what we see now is storms kept weaker as they're over the ocean because they're harder to steer until they reach the land-based network of transmitters. And then we have, Colonel McGregor, rapid intensification. You've heard that term probably a lot lately, because that's how they manipulate these storms. And again, we have Acapulco last October.
Pause.
Extreme example.
Back it up 15 seconds. He's the head of Geoengineering Watch, Dane Whittington. He's on tomorrow for a full hour. I've known him for 20 years. He's testified to Congress, legislatures, you name it. Let me explain something to you. He brings in the weather mod whistleblowers. It never makes the news, okay? Legislatures, federal, you name it. You hear what he just said? Hurricanes always get weaker over land. Now they get stronger. They are manipulating them. We have the flight path. Let's finish up and then go to Rodney Howard-Browne. Here it is.
Because that's how they manipulate these storms. And again, we have Acapulco last October being the extreme example of rapid intensification. An insignificant low-pressure system developed into the strongest Cat 5 hurricane to ever hit that part of the world in less than 24 hours, laid waste to Acapulco. And by the way, Hurricane John, which just hit Acapulco again as Hurricane Helene was wreaking havoc in the Carolinas.
Now let me stop you there. You see, it is insane that the government keeps letting this shit hit you over and over and over and over again. Now, seasons do not change, but the weather is unpredictable. So if you're sitting up here saying, you know, hey, we can predict the weather, that means you can predict the future, is what it fucking means. These fools literally told us, hey, get ready, another possible hurricane next week. This is getting crazy. Tropical tracker. They're literally sending out tropical trackers of hurricanes they're going to send out here in the next few weeks. And this was just yesterday. Are you serious? Oh. And then when we literally check our history of what all these fools have done, and we just go ahead and pull it up. You know, we was like, fuck, what have they really done? Weather modification is real. There are CIA documents, Code of Federal Regulations, Part 908, maintaining records and submitting reports on weather modifications activity right here. I've got the government documents from the National Archive and Records Administration from 1985. Are we fucking for real right now? You know what it first started off with? The administrator of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Didn't they just tell us how the storm is weaker over land, but is stronger over the ocean? So when we come to the fucking government archives, what do we first see? How they're fucking making them over the ocean, because they're the administrator over the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration? What the fuck? How are you the administrator over the ocean and the atmosphere? I mean, just make it make sense. Who left you in charge of the ocean and the atmosphere? My nigga, where do you apply for that job? Where? And it says, who's the person of this administration? It says any individual, corporation, company, association, firm, and partnership, society, joint stock, company, any state or local government, or any agency thereof, or any other organization, whether commercial, nonprofit, except where acting solely as an employee, agent, or independent contractor of the federal government. Weather modification activity. Any activity performed with the intention of producing artificial changes in the composition, behavior, of dynamics of the atmosphere. Fact checkers, you can't fuck with me. Fact checkers, no sir. No sir. You're funny. So you want to tell me that weather modification ain't real again? Wow. United States, the several states of District Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and any territory of insular possession of the United States, persons whose activities relate to weather modification, persons engaged in weather modification activities or engaged in distribution of sale, weather modification apparatus, or other materials known by them by the destined for use in weather modification activities. Project is a related series of weather modification activities having a common objective. Target area, the ground area within which the effects of the weather modification activity are expected to be found. Control area, a pre-selected untreated ground area used for comparison with the target area. Now, you know me. You know I don't fucking play, right? You know I don't motherfucking play when I come to none of this research shit. And so I started digging. And I started digging. And baby, when I say I started digging, let me show you this. Can I show you something? When I looked up who owns AccuWeather. You know what AccuWeather is? AccuWeather, my friends, AccuWeather is, look on your phone, and when you see the weather icon, that's him, Joel N. Myers. He's a Jew. It's a Jew who owns the weather station. And you see, let me pull this up for you right quick. Now, when I was explaining to you weather modification, right? Remember me explaining to you weather modification and how, let me get back to it. Let me get rid of that one. Okay. So weather modification literally says person, any individual, corporation, company, association, firm, partnership, society, joint stock, company, any state or local government or agency thereof or organization. Now, did you know on your birth certificate that you're a bond servant, meaning slave? So your birth certificate literally states and puts you in the weather modification category. Birth certificates, they are all copies, and the copies have a serial number on them issued by a special bank bond paper and authorized by the American Banknote Company. You're a bond servant, means slave. Once a state has registered a birth document with the U.S. Department of Commerce, the U.S. Department notifies the Treasury Department, which takes out a loan from the Federal Reserve. The Treasury uses the loan to purchase a bond. The Fed holds a purchase money security interest in the bond from the Department of Commerce, which invests in the sale proceeds in the stock or bond. Stock or bond. Now, when we just looked at weather modification, what did I just show you? That the person's word interest was what? Stock or bond. The Treasury Department then issues Treasury securities in the form of Treasury bonds, notes, and bills, using the bonds as surety for the new securities. This cycle is based on the future tax revenues of a legal person whose name appears on the birth certificate. This also means that the bankrupt corporate USA can guarantee the purchasers of their securities the lifetime labor and tax revenues of every citizen of the United States and American with a birth certificate as collateral for payment. This device is initiated simply by converting the lawful true name of the child into the legal juristic name of a person. Now, Crystal is telling you this because when the storm hits, remember the government got your birth certificate and they already got insurance on your birth certificate. So don't worry, they're secured. This is brilliant. Anyway, come on, man. This video is going to get me fucking banned. Listen here. Legally, you are considered to be a slave or indentured servant to the various governments, state and local governments via your state issue and state credited birth certificate. So if you have a license that is state issued, you're a bond servant. If you have a birth certificate that has been issued to you and registered to you, you are a bond servant and you are a ward of the state. Meaning the government has an insurance bond on you. Meaning you are collateral, chattel. Meaning when storms hit, they literally pre-select and pre-target that area that they're going to take out. And they already take insurance out on the land and the people to make sure they are insured. Oh, this is sinister shit, isn't it? I know, but it gets deep. Hold on. So legally, you are considered to be a slave or indentured servant to the various federal, state, and local governments via your state issued and state created birth certificate in the name of your in the name of your all caps person. That's why if you write your name in all caps, you're owned by the state. Lowercase, you're not. Birth certificates are issued so that the issuer can claim exclusive title to the legal person created thereby. Yeah, I know that shit's deep, ain't it? And it hurts too. So look here, this was in the internet, this was in the government's code federal regulations. Look here, it's ecfr.gov. Current title, 15 subtitle B, chapter 1X, meaning 9. Subchapter 9A, part 908. Code of Federal Regulations. Why are you in federal regulations under here as a subservient? under weather modification, maintaining records and submitting reports on weather modification activities. Do you understand that? Yeah, this shit runs deep. It's pretty bad. So, it's so bad that the primary person for whom the weather modification activity is performed. Now, weather modification can happen. They can use the weather modification or apparatus, any apparatus used with the intention of producing artificial changes in the composition, behavior, or dynamics of the atmosphere. For example, seeding. Generators, propane devices, flares, rockets, artillery projectiles, jet engines, etc. Now, why do you think they got everybody to switch to gas, propane tanks? So they can cloud seed wherever you are, especially if you're off the grid. Well, they can send a cloud seed out there if your propane tank has the right chemical components of the gas particles that they need to disperse for cloud seeding. You do know that, right? Yeah, I know. It's a big rabbit hole today. I know. Please don't get me goddamn banned because I'm doing this, but I got to go in. Anyway, since the government owns and controls you, they keep running these experiments. It's so many experiments. You got Project Storm Fury. You got Operation Cirrus. You got Operation Project Papa. I mean, y'all, it's bad. It's so bad. You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe how bad they're willing to take this shit and how far they're willing to go. Okay? They don't care about you anymore. Okay? What is weather modification? Any activity performed with the intention of producing artificial changes in the composition, behavior, or dynamics of the atmosphere. See 15 Code of Federal Regulations 908 for what is considered weather modification. What role does NOAA play in weather modification? Companies that intend to engage in weather modification activities within the United States are required by the Weather Modification Act of 1976 and Code 15 of Federal Regulations 908 to provide the report to the administrator of the NOAA at least 10 days prior to undertaking the activity. So before the government kills you, which do not forget, the government knows every goddamn time they're going to take you out. They pre-plan every goddamn time to take you the fuck out. So, think about the movie The Omen, one of my favorite movies of all time. And you remember how the Antichrist had people in place to make sure his path is never unwithered? You know how the Antichrist had his kindergarten teacher was a Satanist? His gardener was a Satanist. His priest was a Satanist. His barber was a Satanist. You remember all the people around him was around him to make sure that nothing happened to him. They kept an eye on him, right? That's how your whole life is programmed. That's why you can't have no religion. You can't have no God. You can't have no deities or no nothing like that because this is a simulation. It's all scripted, boo-boo. It's all fucking scripted. All right? It's scripted so bad that you are registered to the fucking government as a ward of the fucking state. Okay? The government fucking owns you. And you're over here talking about, oh, praise God, praise Jesus. How, motherfucker? They own you. They're running their story. They're running their narrative. And you're over here thinking you got free will. Ain't no such thing as free will if you can't opt out of taxes and death. Are you fucking kidding me? Wake up. Wake the fuck up. But I'm going to wake you up today. Let's go. Come on. We got lots to cover. So, let's look at the Weather Modification Act of 1976. Boy, you're going to be sick. So this is what I got off the CIA.gov document. Yeah, weather modification right here, sweetie. Chief General Science Division on file, DOC release instructions to apply. This is basically the CIA document email admitting to weather modification. Weather modification is sponsored by the National Science Foundation. It was indicated that the level of federal support for weather modification research may be increased several orders of magnitude over the presently projected 1967 level 3. This is them saying they're going to increase weather modification project to go longer and longer and longer. So when we look at the term weather modification, it is the act of intentionally manipulating or altering the weather. Do you understand that? The weather is the state of the atmosphere describing, for example, the degree to which it is hot or cold, wet or dry, calm or stormy, clear or cloudy. On Earth, most weather phenomenon occur in the lowest layer of the planet's atmosphere, the troposphere, which is the stratosphere. That's why all that shit y'all talking about, oh, it's God coming back. Oh, it's Revelations, it's the Bible. No, the fuck it ain't. It's weather modification. The government is controlling the goddamn weather, have been, will be, and always will control this goddamn simulation. There is no God here. It is wicked ass humans acting in their lowest vibrations, and it's a bunch of fallen angels running this goddamn place. God has forsaken this place. He don't even want to be here. Are you for real? So the most common form of weather modification is cloud seeding. What is cloud seeding, you ask? Cloud seeding is a type of weather modification that aims to change the amount of type of precipitation. Okay? Precipitation is any product of the condensation of the atmospheric water vapor that falls from clouds due to gravitational pull. The main forms of precipitation include drizzle, rain, sleet, snow, ice pellets, graupel, or hail. Okay? It mitigates hail or dispersing fog. The usual objective is to increase rain or snow either for its own sake or to prevent precipitation from occurring in days afterward. Cloud seeding is undertaken by dispersing substances into the air that serves as a cloud condensation or ice nuclei. Okay? Common agents include silver iodide, potassium iodide, and dry ice. The hygroscopic materials like table salt gaining popularity due to their ability to attract moisture. Techniques vary from static seeding, which encourages ice particles formation in the supercooled clouds to increase precipitation, to dynamic seeding, designed to enhance convective cloud development through the release of latent heat. Okay? Methods of this dispersion include aircraft and ground-based generators, which with newer approaches involve drones. What do you think the Air Force does for fun every day that you see them outside your house spraying? But you still want to honor the vets on November 11 when you know the Air Force is getting up every day and make sure this shit gets sprayed over you for weather modification and cloud seeding. Boy, you real slow, ain't you? Boy, you got to check when you was growing up, didn't you? You were separated from the normal kids, wasn't you? Because, buddy, that brain, and you know how many Americans back these Air Force veterans? When it's literally them getting up there and spraying you with this goddamn shit. Well, how can you dispute all of this on the CIA's page? How are you going to dispute this shit on the CIA's page? Now you know what, I'm not going to say the word out loud, but when I pull this up, now you know this shit is for real, fucking for real. Okay? Because each and every day they get up and do it and they make that way. Why? All the goddamn time do they spray. I mean, the government just won't let up, will they? Then they say fact checker says it's false. Then they block you, and then your account gets a warning. Sweetheart, that's geoengineering. But you love your Air Force vets, don't you? That's weird. Y'all are weird. Y'all are so fucking weird. Anyway.
Not many people know that, so Acapulco just got dealt another blow. So again, how many agendas and objectives are being carried out when we know they can manipulate these storms, and we know they can make or break them anytime they want? And again, I bring up the oil infrastructure in the Gulf of Mexico that seems to magically miss any sort of...
And this just broke. Congress is now confirming that Hurricane Helena did have U.S. government weather weapon planes in it. Now, we already have the tracks. We already have the tail numbers. They don't even hide this crap. It just broke. It's on Infowars.com. Breaking, lawmakers briefed on weather modification tech conclude hurricane.
Now that you have that, let's take a look at this. Sheeple, you think the government can control hurricanes? You're one of those crazy conspiracy theorists. Meanwhile, hurricane and tornado control device, U.S. patent number US 200-300-85296A1. Tropical hurricane control system, U.S. patent number 200-701-58449A1. Method for controlling hurricanes, patent number US 201-000-72297A1. Weather control method, patent number W0-20-111-34281A1. Technology and techniques to prevent, diminish, or interfere with the formation of a hurricane on Earth from one or more platforms in space. US 202-02-88-65081. Process for controlling weather, patent number US 2550324A. What more do you want? At what point, what more do you fucking want, dude? This shit is real. What a hell of a week. Largest U.S. power grid operator issues possible geomagnetic disturbance warning. Really? Now all of a sudden we got a geomagnetic disturbance warning? All while they were literally sending out new frequencies? Creating new storms? This is ridiculous. Have you ever heard of Project Popeye? Yeah. Oh, Well, as of late, the government is trying to get mad that you're doing climate disinformation. So much so that Marjorie Taylor is speaking on, we've been cloud seeding, but we ain't been telling y'all about it. But now it's a problem because we're putting on a show. Let's check this out.
WRAL climate change reporter Liz McLaughlin is separating fact from fiction.
For many in Western North Carolina, the destruction is personal.
It's surreal. Still trying to process. It's still difficult to take in.
James Broyhill took this drone video to assess the damage to his home in Lake Lure, where his family has vacationed for generations.
People take advantage of that for whatever reason and put out stories that are completely false.
As communities work to rebuild, misinformation is getting in the way. That includes one theory circulating that suggests the storm was caused by government manipulation. Rumors about weather control have been amplified by high-profile voices, including Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
This is now getting media coverage, and it's a trending hot issue, and I think a lot of people are taking advantage of that for selfish, nefarious, and political means.
Climate disinformation also circulated after the deadly wildfires in Maui and the heat waves across Europe last year, with conspiracy theorists blaming anything but what climate scientists agree is a shared driver: fossil fuel pollution.
Helene would have had 50% less rainfall in the world without climate change. We expect that there'll be warmer storms.
There's no such thing as climate change. There's no such thing as climate change. It's HAARP. It's the government changing the atmosphere. Let's be real. And the people who go along with the government that does this are agents of evil. So this fool getting up here with this voice right here acting like, oh my God, they had a 50% less precipitation in the change. Nigga, shut the fuck up. Nigga, shut the fuck up. Like we believe you. Just because you talk like this and you can't blow your nose and just suck some more dick. Like, whatever, dude. Like we're not smart to dissertate what's going on here. Have you lost your mind? What does the government automatically say? Oh, they're going to trust this guy because he talks like this. Shut the fuck up. We're going to do our own research and we're going to watch you keep lying to us. Anyway, humans who betray other humans should be executed. That's insane. That's insane, you humans that go around here backing up agents of evil.
That are wetter in the future. So I don't think Helene is a one-off by any means.
As more storms churn in the Atlantic, communities face a double threat: devastation and misinformation. Liz McLaughlin, WRAL News.
Governor Roy Cooper and FEMA officials have pushed back against these false claims. They warn that misinformation can impede recovery efforts and urge social media users to rely on verified sources for updates.
We don't trust the government. What are you talking about? We don't trust them. Anyway. Y'all remember when the U.S. government tried to control hurricanes? Yep, let's get to it. You're not going to believe this, but yep. Let's get to it. Let's start with Project Controlled Weather, Operation Popeye.
As the Vietnam War reached a crossroads, the U.S. Army had important decisions to make if they wanted to tip the scale back to their side. All options were on the table, both conventional and unconventional. And among the most unusual plots was Operation Popeye, launched in an attempt to weaken the Ho Chi Minh Trail, the Viet Cong's most vital mechanism and supply flow tool. To accomplish this, the U.S. would turn the weather into a weapon of war. Operation Popeye utilized cloud seeding technology, a type of weather modification that artificially creates rain or snow. With it, the U.S. military extended at least 5 monsoon seasons, causing detrimental effects to the unknown Vietnamese citizens and soldiers. The mission spanned 5 years and cost taxpayers over $15 million. Despite multiple hearings in Congress, military officers, and even President Nixon himself, denied it existing at all. The Vietnam War was, for many reasons, unlike any other war American soldiers had ever seen. Instead of a standard campaign frontline, where the American Army had more than enough experience, the Vietnam War's battles were fought in the dense South Vietnam jungle. This was an isolated region filled with mountains, animals, and endless greenery. The Viet Cong's most significant advantage over the U.S. in this region was the Ho Chi Minh Trail, a logistics network made up of dirt pads and hand-dug tunnels. It had secret bunkers, barracks, and even a few hospitals. All were cleverly hidden from American aircraft looking for them in reconnaissance missions. With its extensive web of roads and handmade paths, the trail helped the Viet Cong carry massive amounts of manpower, weapons, food, and other war material from one side of the country to the other. At over 1,000 miles in length, the trail ran from North to South Vietnam and extended through the kingdoms of Laos and Cambodia. The U.S. military attempted to destroy the trail with never-ending bombing campaigns. More bombs were dropped on Laos than in Germany and Japan combined in World War II. But none of the tactics were entirely effective. Even Agent Orange wasn't up to the task. The trail network was so vast and complex that if one of the paths were closed, all Viet Cong soldiers had to do was find a secondary way back to their base. But there was one thing that significantly slowed the supply flow on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Rain turned the trails into muddy messes, rendering them too difficult to supply vehicles to maneuver. Vietnam is known for having one of the world's longest monsoon seasons, usually running from April to October. June, July, and August are the months with the heaviest rain. And so the Department of Defense decided to attempt to recreate this process. Their goal was to try to control the weather and extend the monsoon season for as long as they could. To achieve this, they resorted to cloud seeding. This process is thought to have originated in 1946 by Vincent Schaefer, a chemist employed by General Electric. Cloud seeding is a method for artificially producing rain or snow. It requires modifying a cloud's chemical structure to boost the chances of precipitation with the added substance of silver iodide, which works as a condensation agent. There are two ways to disperse cloud seeding agents, either using large cannons to shoot the particles into the sky, or using airplanes to drop the particles from above.
Do you understand what the Air Force and Space Force is now ordered to do every day? Do you understand what your military is doing every day? They are creating biochemical weapons to go against you. Okay? It's not that hard to decipher. And now you see what they're doing every hurricane season. They're usurping Egypt. Egypt is America. America is Kemet. Kemet is Africa. Then therefore, this is the land of Kemet. It is Egypt. It is treasures under this bitch. They built the Domes underground military base bunker under you because they know where all the pyramids are in America. All the pyramids have stargates, gold, treasure, all in America because this is Egypt, the promised land. Egypt is Jerusalem. They gave you the false state of Israel so you can look the other way as they dig up Egypt. That's why they got rid of Tartaria. That's why they got rid of Atlantis. That's why they got rid of Lemuria. Because after they robbed them of all their great resources and treasure, the land was no more of longer use. So they generated earthquakes, hurricane, cloud seedings to what? Flood the earth. Like they've been doing from the beginning of time. Oh, you think the story of Genesis was just God telling you he don't like you and he's going to wipe you out? How long have they been producing floods? How long have they been producing natural disasters that are literally not naturally caused? Well, if you haven't been paying attention to this week's weather and this week's news, guess the fuck what? Well, while the world was away, oh my God, while the world was away, not only did the cyber attack strike the largest supplier of drinking water in the nation that provides 14 million people in 14 states and 18 military installations, but a biolab chemical explosion happened in Georgia, right here in this town. The environment boss who was trying to fight for your fucking rights, and as you can see, he's in black and red, meaning he knew he was going to get sacrificed, and they did. Georgia environment boss who testified about the biolab chemical explosion in Georgia collapses and dies moments after he revealed what he knew. Oh, you thought this was game? Baby, they've been trying to kill you. Baby, they've been trying to kill you. Baby, they've been trying to kill you, but you ain't paying attention. You don't care. Did you know that France had a hurricane? Yeah, that was on alert. Hurricane heading straight towards the country. So Florida has been a hurricane. France has a hurricane. Then while they dropped the hurricane, Rwanda introduced a new travel ban to fight Marburg variant that they just put out. Hold on, but baby, wait, there's more. Then your high supreme witch donates millions to U.S. hurricane relief. Well, if the government is creating the hurricanes, that means the money is going to go to who? Israel, the synagogue of Satan. Sweetheart. You see how we're connecting the dots? Then at the same time, you're having all these fake-ass phenomenons. There's been an egg recall after being linked to salmonella outbreak. So now they're poisoning your food. Then they're sending in they're sending in North Korean troops into Ukraine. Are you for real? All while they're causing a hurricane stir. Then the California cheesemaker linked to deadly listeria outbreak shuts down by the feds. Really? Why are they having all these food recalls in the midst of all these hurricanes? Then hundreds of complaints alleged that price gouging in Georgia as hurricane order is set to expire. You guys, they're killing you on purpose. You do know that, right? Then the Sahara Desert struck by the largest deluge in decades, Waterfields Lake that had been dry for 50 years. Well, that means the cloud seeding has backfired if the Sahara Desert is now struck by the biggest, largest deluge. Where do we get the term deluge from? Genesis? God flooding the earth? Sweetheart, it's the government playing God. All within the same week. So your cloud seeding fucked up so much so that you produce water in the Sahara Desert, my nigga. Wow. It's been dried up for 50 years. And the cloud seeding was so bad that it created a hurricane in France, a hurricane in Tampa, a hurricane in North Carolina, all in 1 week. Then it created a fire in Wyoming. Wow. This is a bit much, don't you think? Don't you think this is a bit much? Then you created a cyber attack on the water supply? Why would a storm create a cyber attack? Why would somebody cyber attack the water while you were creating hurricanes? This is weird. So many distractions all in 1 week, sweetheart. South California experiencing the most seismic activity in decades, and experts scramble to figure out why. Really? All in 1 week while you had your head fucking turned. Now, Vice President Kamala says there will be consequences for companies that jack up rates amid Hurricane Milton. Well, Kamala, I think you knew what companies was gonna hit. And then you knew what hurricane was going to hit, when it was going to hit, how it was going to hit. And I think all of you had a little money in that stock. And I think all of you made money from them said stocks. You see, whoever controls the weather controls the land, don't they? Well, that's what Agenda 2030 is, if you would have read it. Agenda 2030 is them controlling the weather, and it's right on point. Yeah, you forgot to read that. Hold on, let me go ahead and pull that up. Agenda 2030. Yep. Agenda 2030 is weather control. Based on the provided search here, geoengineering and climate change, weather modification, sustainable goals right here under Agenda 2030. But they don't care. They don't fucking care. They don't care. If they cared, they would stop cloud seeding, you know? But they won't. And they won't admit to it. They won't admit to it. But that's okay. So much so, they are doing so much weather modification that Biden had to get his ass on TV and deny it. Go ahead, Biden.
There's been a reckless, irresponsible, and relentless promotion of disinformation and outright lies that are disturbing people. Now the claims are getting even more bizarre. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, a congresswoman from Georgia, is now saying the federal government is literally controlling the weather. We're controlling the weather. It's beyond ridiculous. It's got to stop.
You know, that's kind of crazy because Lyndon B. Johnson literally told us that they were going to do what? Control the weather. Yeah, he did. Hold on. Give me that. Oh, yeah, of course you're going to wipe it from the fucking internet. Great, let's find it here. Oh, it's one of those. All right, cool. They're trying to wipe it from the internet. That's cool, we got it.
It lays the political foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world. That will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
Yep, and they're scrubbing this video from the internet. How sad is that?
Throughout the planning period, the program went by several names to maintain its secrecy. Operation Popeye ended up being its official name. In a memorandum sent in January 1967 from Deputy Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs Floyd D. Kohler to then Secretary of State Dean Rusk, Kohler described Project Popeye's goals, stating, quote, "The objective is to inhibit overland vehicular movement and to reinforce the bottlenecks already created at stream crossings by the bombing of bridges and ferry installations. With respect to louse, the objective is to extend rainfall through the dry season, keeping the ground as near the saturation point as possible and obstructing traffic that normally fords streams during the low water period. By generating rain, the American army would slow the Viet Cong's truck traffic, impairing
The government created weather modification to use as a war weapon, as a weapon of war. So every time they would go to war, instead of them losing men or fighting, losing ammunition or using weapons, all they had to do was send in cloud seeding to the enemy's location and take them out. And it was used as a weapon. Weather is used as a wartime weapon, okay?
the supply flow throughout the trail and leaving them more susceptible to other attacks. Kohler also believed that cloud seeding was relatively more ethical than common warfare, stating, quote, "With respect to North Vietnam, we believe that as an interdiction measure, Popeye operations would be less harmful to the population and the area affected than bombing. For Operation Popeye to be successful, it had to be carried out with the utmost secrecy. If information about America playing God and controlling the weather came out, there might be speculation that..."
You see how they had these soldiers sitting in these rooms talking about they had to be sworn to ultimate secrecy?
Vietnam, we believe that as an interdiction measure, Popeye operations would be less harmful to the population and the area affected than bombing. For Operation Popeye to be successful, it had...
So your granddaddies, your great-granddaddies knew this shit was going on. They didn't tell you because they had to be sworn to secrecy. See, this some goddamn bullshit. But they give them November 11th for you to honor these motherfuckers who are literally killing you now. Our problems come from our great-granddaddy, our great-grandmama, and these old-ass adults who put us in this goddamn situation. And nobody bats an eye. That's how evil old people are. And they thought they were being patriots. They thought they were doing a country of duty. They knew they were killing us. They knew they were literally modifying the weather as a quiet weapon for a silent war to take us the fuck out. And they said nothing, but let you worship them on November 11th. Fuck out of here. I can't stand the goddamn military. And soldiers, veterans, if you want to redeem yourself, denounce yourself from that goddamn military and fight for the real people. Fight for us. Say, you know, I fucked up. I'm sorry I did it. We knew we were doing shit we weren't supposed to be doing, but we would like to change and literally protect you now instead of hurt you now. How hard is that to fucking understand? We know you are mercenaries for the goddamn government, but you still gonna sit up here, look us in our fucking face, a lot of us, when we literally got a fucking government documentary of what you fucking do? You kill us every goddamn day by getting up there spraying that shit on us. And you think you're a goddamn hero. Fuck out of my goddamn face. You know what you're doing every goddamn day you put on that uniform and you play pretend. Boy, do I condemn your soul to goddamn hell until you do right by us. Do you hear me? Knew that shit. You knew they were killing us and you still completed the mission. You think you some patriot. You think you some fucking hero. Man, fuck you. Absolutely.
To be carried out with the utmost secrecy. If information about America playing God and controlling the weather came out.
Playing God and controlling the weather. But let me hear you gonna worship these motherfuckers on November 11th. Man, fuck y'all for that fuck shit.
There might be speculation about man-made alterations in other climatic anomalies they had no connection with. However, American planners were also convinced that their intervention on the weather would inevitably be discovered. According to Deputy Undersecretary Kohler's memo, quote, "In the first place, the altered weather will be observable, in contrast to the experimental phase conducted during normally rainy periods. Disclosure..."
Then when you wonder why you're sick, because they created the term, you're under the fucking weather. You get it now? You're under the fucking biochemical labs. And why do you think in Georgia they made the biochemical lab blow the fuck up? Because they need to cloud seed. Okay? When you take chlorine, sodium hydrochloride, and then you mix it with whatever invisible other chemical that they had mixed with the sodium hydrochloride, which we don't know. which we don't know, and you burn up those two chemicals together, that's cloud seeding. Hello? Georgia, you got the biggest fucking lawsuit, and I'm suing your ass. I'm literally right next door to you. And I had to experience that shit every day of my life. And it gave me the worst fucking headache, and my ovaries was fucking hurting me. So yeah, I'm coming for you. I'm absolutely coming the fuck for you. I am. It's cloud seeding. It's genocide. It's actually, what do they call it? That's a gas chamber. When you put noble gases into the atmosphere, you create a gas chamber. Hitler used mustard seed as a gas to literally do people that way. Are we really playing this game? Biolab chemical blows up and the whistleblower dies as he's testifying. That means they put a chip into that man. And when he got through telling that story, they detonate that fucking chip. They got kill switches in these chips. Yo, do you not understand these niggas got kill switches? Hold on. Come here. Kenny Johnson, a Rockdale County soil and water supervisor, collapsed and died after testifying at Georgia's Capitol about the chemical from the biolab fire. You cannot make this shit up. That means that man had a kill switch on the inside of him, and you don't want to wake up. You don't want to wake up about the reality that they took that man out. They took this man out and they put him in red and black. Hold on. He knew he was going to be sacrificed. Check this out. Look at this picture. What did I tell you about color magic? His tie is red. His suit is black. They're preparing him from death. You understand that? They're preparing him from death. Now, we just showed you what happens with cloud seeding. Let me go ahead and bring up cloud seeding. We can get rid of that. Now, cloud seeding is when the Air Force get in their fucking unidentified aircraft and they drop silver iodide or dry ice, and then it has the induction of chemicals, the condensation of H2O, the liquid H2O come in, and then the gas of the H2O come in, and then they put these noble gases in the air. The water activates it, and then, ta-da, it produces rain. Okay, it produces rain. Now, Dubai has been doing cloud seeding for a very long time. And it's such a thing that they literally had the Weather Modification Reporting Act of 1972, Public Law 92-205, Section 1, December 18, 1971. That's how long these fools have been controlling the weather. That's how long these fools have been controlling the weather. Okay? If somebody would have had this document before this time and date, it says violation penalty. Any person who knowingly and willfully violates section 330A of this title or any rule, shut the fuck up, whatever. We got the right to know what the fuck you're doing behind our backs. It says any records or other information obtained by the administrator under these rules or otherwise under the federal government department agencies, shut the fuck up. Anyway, you've been creating cloud seeding forever. Weather modification activities to be reported to Commerce. Proposed weather modification reporting regulations published. These fools have been doing this for a very fucking long time, and it's in the government archives. These are CIA documents of them literally doing this. Proposed regulations for reporting weather modification activities to NOAA were published June 10th, 1972 of the Federal Register list. Yeah, your government has been modifying weather for a very long time. That's treason. Baby, that's treason. You got to know it. You got to know it, and it's time to wake the fuck up. You have to wake the fuck up. Look at this.
We have had the technology to create, control, and steer hurricanes for decades. Project Cirrus is the first official attempt to modify a hurricane. It was run by General Electric with the support of the U.S. military. The official theory was that by changing the temperature outside the eye wall of a hurricane, which they did by seeding the clouds with various compounds such as silver iodide, a decrease in strong winds will result. On October 13th, 1947, Project Cirrus targeted a hurricane heading out to sea. Approximately 180 pounds of dry ice was dropped into the clouds. The crew then reported
180 pounds of dry ice was dropped off by yours truly, fucking military. Yours truly, fucking military. Your husbands, your beloved husbands, who says, I'm going out to protect my countries, is the same husband going off to kill your country. Ain't that weird? Ain't that fucking weird? How psychopath, or is that sociopath? That is a social, because y'all are socially, like in the public, saying, oh, look at me, I'm a good guy, I'm protecting my country, but I'm really killing my, like, there has to be a mental illness for anybody enrolled in the military thinking they're protecting their country when we know what the fuck you're doing, and we have government documents that literally states what programs you are enrolled in. You all need to be executed. You don't need a Purple Heart. You got a Purple Heart for killing innocent human beings. Y'all love this bullshit. You know, nurses work here, heroes work here. Man, they got y'all brainwashed big time. Big fucking time.
a pronounced modification of the cloud deck, and the hurricane abruptly changed direction and made landfall near Savannah, Georgia. The public blamed the government. Irving Langmuir, who pioneered...
The public blamed the government. This was back in the day. We knew better not to trust the government. Go ahead, baby.
General Electric's atmospheric research.
Now, why do you think General Electric is around? Why do you think Georgia Power is around? 2 hints. General Electric, Georgia Power. What do after the cloud seeding, after the noble gases have been set? After the gases have been set, General Electric comes in and calls what? An electrical current to strike up what? The perfect storm. Do you get it now? Mm-hmm. Yes. Let's look up General Electric. And look how long General Electric has been running. And then you wonder to yourself, who owns the fucking power company, right? Because not one, what did Kanye say? No one man can have all that power, you know? So it makes you think, who the fuck owns Georgia Power and the electrical current company that provides electricity and energy for everybody? Who owns the energy, right? It's some fucked up shit. So GE has been around since 1892. 1892? That's 132 years ago. So you're telling me somebody has to be 132 years old, right? 132 years old. Child, please. General Electric Company was an American multinational conglomerate founded in 1892, incorporated in the state of New York and headquartered in Boston. The company had several divisions, including aerospace. Ah, Crystal, you're good. Crystal, you're good. Aerospace, energy, healthcare, finance. Ooh, girl, you're good. General Electric Company literally owns the aerospace company, energy company, healthcare company, and the finance company. Damn, Crystal, you're good. Oh my God. In 2020, GE ranked among the Fortune 500 as the 33rd. Oh my God. Oh, and the company symbol is blue. Oh my God. They ranked 33rd largest firm in the United States by gross revenue. What was their gross revenue? Oh, do we even want to know? Do we even want to fucking know? In 2023, the company was ranked 64th in the Forbes Global 200. Now, give me that. Give me that. Give me that. Let me see how much they generated. Are you not even going to show how much they generated? So right now, United States is leading the number one for sales. For annual ranking of the top 2,000 public companies in the world, this goes to show you the United States is not a country. They're saying all these countries are companies, sweetie. Oh my God, right there in front of your face. Y'all, they're saying these are public companies. They're saying countries are what? Right there in your fucking face. Oh my God. I told you, the United States is a corporation, not a country. And now they're saying that every other country is actually a company. Good work, Crystal. Good work, Crystal. Right here in black and white, the Forbes Global 2000 is the annual ranking of the top 2,000 public companies in the world. Look here, United States is a company? JP Morgan and Chase. Come here. JP Morgan and Chase. You mean the same multinational finance company we just seen with General Electric Company? Interesting. How long you been around? 1877. You were founded in 1871. No, excuse me. It was founded in 1799. 1790. Now, that must mean that vampires are real, because who the fuck would keep a company running from 1799? Nobody has ancestors that long. Nobody's ancestors is still living from that fucking long. 1799. Then they found the Chemical Bank. The Chemical Bank, oh my God, 1824. Bitch, this is big. Revenue of $158.1 billion. Oh my fucking God. They could have ended world hunger a long time ago, but they didn't. With the U.S. total assets is $3.9 trillion. Oh my fucking God. This is disgusting. This is fucking disgusting. Are you for real? Wow. Oh, we didn't have time for this rabbit hole. Any fucking way. In order for weather modification to happen, they got to have an electrical current. Guess who supplies the electrical current for all your storms? It's General motherfucking Electric. This is some bullshit. This is some real bullshit.
Research department and admitted that the project was about learning how to weaponize the weather. Also claimed the reversal of the hurricane had been caused by Project Cirrus, but the government denied it for 12 years.
Now, Project Cirrus. Let's look up Project Cirrus, shall we? Operation Cirrus was a weather modification project conducted by General Electric in collaboration with the United States Air Force from 1947 to 1952. The primary goal was to modify the weather by creating snowstorms and seeding hurricanes using silver iodide. Now, let's look at the benefits, the pros and cons of silver iodide, shall we? Oh my God. And here we are. Look at the cons. If you inhale silver iodide, toxicity. Silver iodide is highly toxic and can cause severe health risks such as reproductive disorders. Its literal chemical combination. Oh my, give me this. Its molecular structure is AgL, known as silver iodide 1, elemental silver. Oh, and it's the huge process of cloud seeding. Shut the fuck up. Oh my God. What a trail you left for me to fucking dismantle. Cons. The cons of silver iodide is reproductive disorders, developmental defects, cancer, coughing, wheezing, difficulty breathing, simple symptoms of toxicity. Ecological concerns are the use of silver iodide in cloud seeding raises ecological concerns as it may be toxic to terrestrial and aquatic life. Potential health mess. Silver iodide particles injected into the atmosphere can play a role in triggering other pollutants and potentially creating a health hazard. Contamination risk. Mishandling silver iodide and other chemicals used in cloud seeding can lead to environmental pollution and contamination, posing risk to human health and ecosystems. Photosensitivity is silver iodide is highly photosensitive, meaning when the sun hits it, it fucks everything up, which can cause it to darken rapidly when exposed to light, leading to reduced effectiveness and potential contamination. Impurities of commercial samples of silver iodide often contain impurities of metallic silver, which can affect its properties and performance. Limited solubility of silver iodide is only slightly soluble in water, which can limit its effectiveness in certain applications and increase the risk of contamination. Alternative concerns: the use of silver iodide in cloud seeding may divert attention and resources away from exploring less harmful alternatives. Are we for real right now? Silver iodide is nanoparticles were successfully synthesized in the culture supernatant of the isolates of the MTCC cultures. During optimization, silver iodide nanoparticle synthesis was best at concentration at 3 milligrams at AgL with pH of 8 for AgL under a temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. They are fucking you up. Carbon dioxide is dry ice. Oh, God, they are tearing us up. And you wonder why you're having respiratory problems. And you're wondering why you can't have a baby. You can't have a baby because they're spreading silver iodide everywhere that's causing reproductive disorders and developmental defects. And that's why all these kids are Riri. Okay? Wow, this is a big problem.
After a short delay, the project officially continued. And in 1965, Project Storm Fury had targeted Hurricane Betsy for seeding. On that day, the storm immediately changed direction and made landfall in southern Florida.
Yes, the U.S. government experimented with controlling hurricanes video. It is a video of the military controlling hurricanes. But you still don't believe that these fools are lying to you, do you?
Congress blamed it on Project Storm Fury, but
now, what is Project Storm Fury, you say? Project Storm Fury was an attempt to weaken tropical cyclones by flying aircraft into them and seeding them with silver iodide. There they go with silver iodide again. The project was ran by the United States government from 1962 to 1983, and the hypothesis was that the silver iodide would cause supercooled water in the storm to freeze, disrupting the inner structure of the hurricane, and this led to seeding several Atlantic hurricanes. However, it was later shown that this hypothesis was incorrect. It was determined that most hurricanes do not contain enough supercooled water for cloud seeding to be effective. Additionally, researchers found that unseeded hurricanes often undergo the same structural changes that were expected from seeded hurricanes. This finding called Storm Fury's successes into question, as the changes reported now had natural explanation. The last experimental flight was flown into 1971 due to lack of candidate storms and a changeover in the NOAA's fleet. Okay? Project Storm Fury was officially canceled more than a decade after the last modification experiment. Although the project failed to achieve its goal of reducing the destructiveness of hurricanes, its observational data and storm life cycle research helped improve meteorologists' ability to forecast the movement and intensity of hurricanes. Meaning these motherfuckers are still fucking doing it. Cloud seeding was first attempted by Vincent Schaefer and Irvin Langmuir after witnessing the artificial creation of ice crystals. Langmuir became an enthusiast prominent of weather modification. Schaefer found that when he dumped crushed dry ice into a cloud, precipitation of the form of snow resulted. With regards to hurricane, it was hypothesized that by seeding the area around the eye wall with silver iodide, latent heat would be released. This would promote the formation of a new eye wall, as the new eye wall was larger than the old eye wall, and the winds of the tropical cyclone would be weaker due to the reduced pressure gradient, and even a small reduction in the speed of the hurricane winds would be beneficial, since the damage potential of the hurricane increased as a square of the wind speed. A slight lowering of the wind speed would have a large reduction in the destructiveness. Due to Langmuir's effort of the research of Schaefer's at General Electric, the concept of using cloud seeding to weaken hurricanes gathered momentum, and indeed Schaefer had caused a major snowstorm on December 20th, 1946 by seeding a cloud. Now, when we look up December 20th, 1946, do you know what was going on at that time? Now, not only on that day, It's a Wonderful Life, I hate that fucking movie, premiered, but basically, it was the day that they set weather modification. And they love Christmas so much that they wanted to give you a white Christmas. Do you not remember this shit? So you had the movies A White Christmas and It's a Wonderful Life. That's why they always premiere back to back when you're in the Christmas mood, right? Well, these motherfuckers literally created Christmas on the new moon of December 20th, 1946. These motherfuckers are producing black magic, witchcraft, okay? Witchcraft. On this day, that's why the entertainment industry is very important to them, and that's why they release movies on certain times and on certain days, because they know exactly what they're doing. And don't forget that this movie was a supernatural drama based on the short story, The Greatest Gift. I hate this fucking movie, and now I know why. Okay, now I fucking know why. So, then when we look back at every fucking hurricane there ever was, we go to the National Hurricane Center and Central Pacific Hurricane Center. We literally have a report of every hurricane these fools have ever done. 1900, Galveston. 1919, Atlantic Gulf. 1926, Miami. 1928, San Felipe, Okeechobee. 1935, Florida Keys, Labor Day. 1938, New England. 1944, Great Atlantic. 1954, Carol and Egna. Hazel in 1954, Connie and Diane. Look at these white ass names. You got to know it's white folks. Now you got to know that the stage is set, because look at these white ass names. Carol and Edna, Hazel, Connie, Diane, Audrey. Yeah, this is like 1950s bitches. Donna, Camille, Agnes. Really? Agnes? Like we weren't going to catch on to this, you motherfuckers. You left a paper trail of white folks' names. Y'all hate Ebonics. Then little did you know, y'all started getting a little out there. At the end of you started running out of white folks' names. Like we can't tell it's you. Are you kidding me? And so they go on and on. Oh, here they come getting, look here. They're getting ethnic with Tropical Storm Alberto in 1994. That's funny. Anyway, Hurricane Katrina was concocted by the Democrats. They all get to go make their special concoction of storms when they want to make it. This Galveston hurricane in 1900 was this killer weather storm was first detected over the tropical Atlantic on August 27, while the history of the track and intensified is not fully known. But yes, every storm you have ever known has been created by your government and General Electric Company and JP Morgan and Chase. There you fucking have it. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, you are very welcome, my friend. You are very welcome. This is what the fuck shit that your government does all the fucking time. As they lead you to your deaths. So let's get back to Project Sirius and Stormfire. So, Operation Sirius, conducted by General Electric in collaboration with the United States Air Force. The primary goal was to modify the weather by creating snowstorms and seeding hurricanes by using silver iodide, and they did. On October 13th, and look what today is, 10/11/24. Here they go again. They love that calendar. A hurricane was drifting out into the Atlantic, providing a test subject for the project. However, instead of dissipating, the storm unexpectedly changed direction and made landfall in Georgia, causing $2 million worth of damage. Landfall in Georgia. Now, all week in Georgia, you know they've been cutting up. Child, they've been running drills in Georgia. Hold on. I'm going to pull that up too. Let me go ahead and pull this up for you. So everything that goes on is government orchestrated. I can prove it to you. I have the documents to do so. I have the research to do so. So you got to stop saying it's God. It's the end of the world. No, it's not. No, it's not. Stop it, bitch. Stop it. It's the government. It's the God-ver-fucking-ment. Let me pull this up for you 1 second. Stop playing with my damn, come on. They've been messing with my computer all day. Please stop. Yeah, they throttling me. Okay. Let me find it right quick. Hold on 1 second, let me find it. Is that it? Hold on. Is that it?
Congress invoke civil...
No, that one's not it. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Is that it?
So in July, Undersecretary Cisneros acknowledged the DMET data, the database working properly, and also acknowledged things such as myocarditis rising 151%. So I went in today, I'm doing the same thing, 5-year average. However, I'm comparing it to 2022, and I only am using fixed wing pilots and helicopter pilots, active duty. So we get hypertensive disease, 36%, ischemic heart disease, 69%, pulmonary heart disease, 62%, heart failure, 973%, other forms of heart disease, 63%, cardiomyopathy, 152%. So.
Oh, he's talking about how all of them have been vaccinated and now they're all dying from the effects of it. But that's not the video that I needed. I need the one video where they're running drills, and I have to find this right quick. Hold on. So bear with me.
Yes, many universities in the United States were free until segregation ended. And it will shock no one to learn that a major reason was Ronald Reagan. Free college was the norm.
Not that one.
One of the things they do is they stop eating.
Not that one.
This part of that investigation is that.
Not that one. Hold on.
While you guys are focusing on Helen, that's
Hold on, I gotta find this freaking video. I might have went back too far, but hold on, let me see. What's his name? Oh, where is this video? Hold on. We need this video. Was it him?
With all these celebrities.
Was it him? Let me see if it was him right quick. I don't think it's his page. Let me see. No, I don't think it's him. Let me see. 1 second. Where is it? Is that one it?
Let's take a look at what's going on in California here. This is...
Come on, I need this video. This video is very freaking important. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Whose page was it on? Whose page was it on? Was it this one?
The people in North Carolina, you deserve to hear this. I'm a truck driver, all right? I have a 53-foot step deck. I've been trucking for about 2.5 years. I have a YouTube channel. You can verify that on Babyline Hotshot. Usually in a disaster situation, it is payday for truckers. We look for that hurricane. We look for that ice storm. There's generators coming to you. There's stuff coming out of military bases. There's excavators, skid steers, bulldozers, tree trimming equipment, pumps, like water pumps to pump water out of places that have been flooded. There's no loads on the load board coming to you within 125 miles of Asheville. It's called Truck Stop. This is where I find all my loads. Chicago, Illinois, up at the top. within 250 miles of Chicago is where I'm going to pick up. The second is the destination. So it goes origin, destination. Watch. See? Drop-off location. Let's do city. North Carolina. Click it. Boom. All right. These are all $1.40 a mile loads, $1.39. That was posted yesterday. I mean, there's nothing. There's nothing. These are loads that you wouldn't even, nobody's taking them. They're just on the load board. They've been on there since yesterday. You can see, right? Let's type in a different city. That's from Chicago. Maybe Tennessee, maybe Nashville is closer, and they'd send resources from Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee, within 250 miles of Nashville, to Asheville, North Carolina, within 125 miles. Let's see, that's it. That's all the loads. That's all the loads that are 28,000 pounds a month. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, what the hell's going on here? I had brokers call me and tell me, Stu, have you seen any loads going to Asheville or like anywhere around the Carolinas, South Carolina, Georgia? Is there any like FEMA loads? There's none. Zero. He's been a broker for 6 years. And he's talking to other brokers. They're saying the same thing. What's going on, guys?
Now, I think it might be on his page. 1 second. Where is that? Hey, let me find it this way. Yep. Georgia active drills are scheduled, taking place October 24th. So, say it with me. The Appalachian shooting was what? Staged. Yeah. Staged. Yeah. Georgia active drills scheduled. According to recent announcement, Georgia schools are required to conduct annual active shooter drills within the next scheduled drills taking place in October 2024. This mandate. Let's pull up the Georgia Appalachian shooting. Yeah, stop playing with me. Yep. 2024 Appalachian High School shooting, mass shooting. Yep. And what does it say? Georgia active drills. Georgia active shooter drills. Mandatory active shooter drills are mandatory in Georgia classrooms. Do you get it now? Do you get everything is scheduled? Everything is staged. Everything. Okay? Down from your weather, down from your shootings. You better wake up. If you go to Georgia public schools, take your kids out now. This is your last warning. This is your last warning. If your children go to public schools in Georgia, take them out now. They are running active shooter drills, which is mandatory, meaning it's a mandatory sacrifice that is about to happen. Do you understand that? It's called 2-minute drills where they run in and shoot up the goddamn school and run the fuck out. Active shooter drills are mandatory in Georgia schools. But you still think it's psychopaths just running in? You still think it's disgruntled teens? You still think it's transgender teens shooting up the schools? No, ma'am. No, sir. No ham. No turkey. Nope. Now you know the drills are controlled. Now you know the weather is controlled. Now stop playing with me. Stop fucking playing with me. You think Georgia having all of this tragedy, all of this chaos happening in Georgia is a coincidence? Child, please. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. None of it. None of it is a coincidence. It's the government running fucking drills. So we got the biolab chemicals blowing up. We got the Appalachian school shooting. We got the hurricanes. Then we got the immigrants coming up from Tampa. It's just so much. Then you got the Sahara Desert getting water. Man, isn't this a lot? Isn't this a lot to take in? I believe it is. I believe it fucking is. So, now you know what these fools are doing. Okay? Now you know that they are controlling the weather. When they were cloud seeding, they were weakening hurricanes, gathered momentum. Indeed, Schaefer had caused a major snowstorm on December 20th, 1946 by seeding a cloud. This caused GE to drop out for legal reasons. Schaefer and Langmuir assisted in the U.S. military as advisors for Project Cirrus, the first large study of cloud physics and weather modification. Okay? Weather modification is the act of intentionally manipulating or altering the weather, which your government is doing and which your government is going to continue to do. And if you don't shut these fools down right now, today, this shit will continue. But don't forget, they got other projects like Project Baton, Project Storm Fury, even Agent Orange. Even Agent Orange, Vietnam War. Okay? That's where they use weather modification too as well. But Project Cirrus was the first attempt of where they learned to modify hurricanes. Do you understand that? Do you get it now? And the U.S. Army and the U.S. Office Naval and the Air Force all helped them to make this shit come true. But honor a vet on November 11th day, don't forget. Now, how sinister is that? You know? Veterans Day. It's so weird when it's the veterans that is killing you. Oh my God. These motherfuckers are sick, aren't they? Anyway, bleh. Veterans Day. Fuck y'all. Y'all are literally out here killing these people and you talking about Veterans Day? Military tribunal, execution, throat slit. Now, don't forget the Army, Navy, and Air Force all participated in the first attempt to modify a hurricane back in 1947. Huh? Your grandfather is a goddamn lie. Your granddaddy and them is a goddamn lie. Talking about they was over there beating some Nazi asses. No, they wasn't. No, the fuck they were. They was over there killing us. The Projects 2 B-17s and B-29s of the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Group. The 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Group. Now, I wonder how many of y'all granddaddies told y'all that we literally killed a bunch of humans by changing the weather. We was in the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Group when we literally dispatched the MacDill field in Florida and intercepted the hurricane. The Seaton B-17 flew along the rain bands of the hurricane and dropped nearly 180 pounds, which is 82 kilograms for y'all who are not in the metric system, and crushed the dry ice into the clouds. And the crew reported pronounced modification of the cloud deck seeded, and it's not known if that it was due to the seeding. Next, the hurricane changed direction and made landfall near Savannah, Georgia. The public blamed the seeding, and Irving Langmuir claimed that this reversal had been caused by human intervention. Now, Listen to this, human intervention. Here's the thing where it gets shisty and shady. Because let me show you this. And this is interesting. If Floridians would know a Hungarian wisdom that storms can be broken up by church bells, energy vibration, they would turn on all church bells in the path of Milton. It would ring them nonstop until the eye of the hurricane is broken up. We are not helpless. We just need to use the knowledge we have. Please call your local pastor and ask him to run the bells in affected areas. I'm not making this up. Please see the video in the comments. Turn on the bells. And it just said in this government document that by perchance a human intervention, Irving Langmuir claimed that the reversal had been caused by human intervention. They started ringing the bells, and Sirius was canceled, and lawsuits were threatened because those 5,000 companies, those 400 or 500 companies said, hey, I bought insurance on them people. I bought insurance on that land. You promised me you were going to send in a hurricane. We were going to claim the insurance money, and it was going to be a cash grab. It was going to be a smash and grab, and you didn't provide a smash and grab. Now I'm going to sue your butt. Isn't that weird? That these people are doing that to all of these innocent people who don't know they got a fucking bounty on their fucking head? Isn't that fucking weird? That the government has a bounty on you through a goddamn storm? Wow. So the public blamed the seeding, and Irving Langmuir claimed that the reversal had been caused by human intervention. Sirius was canceled and lawsuits were threatened. Only the act that a system in 1906 had taken similar paths, as well as evidence showing that the storm had already begun to turn when the seeding began, ended the litigation, and the disaster set back the causing of the seeding hurricanes for 11 years. At first, the seeding was officially denied, and it took years before the government admitted it. According to the September 12, 1965 edition of Fort Lauderdale News and Sun Sentinel, in 1947, a hurricane went wacky, and 12 years later, it was admitted that the storm had in fact been seeded by the motherfucking government. Lo and fucking behold. Between the projects, the United States Weather Bureau, they got a lightning bolt. You know whose symbol is a lightning bolt? Lucifer, Baal, god of air. You know god of air is Baal. You get it now? Barium and aluminum is another form of cloud seeding. Okay? It's the contrail mix-up. So the United States Weather Bureau, National Hurricane Research Project, founded in 1955, had as one of the objectives to investigate the scientific validity of the hurricane modification methods. To this end, silver iodide dispensers were tested in Hurricane Daisy. Here they go again. In 1958, they created more hurricanes to test to see if they could be detectable by other humans, to see if they were really putting together fake-ass weather, and they were. In August 1958, the flares were deployed outside of the hurricane eye wall, so that this was equipment test rather than a modification experiment. The experiment malfunctioned in all but one of the flights, and no conclusive data was acquired. The first seeding experiment since Sirius disaster was attempted on September 16, 1961, into Hurricane Esther by NHRP and the United States Navy aircraft. Now, 8 cylinders of silver iodide were dropped to the Esther's eye wall, and the winds were recorded as weakened by 10%. The next day, more seeding flights were made, and this time the silver iodide did not fall into the eye wall, and no reduction in the wind speed was observed. And these two results was interpreted as making the experiment a success. The seedings into the Hurricane Esther led to the establishment of Project Storm Fury in 1962. Project Storm Fury was a joint venture of the United States Department of the United States Navy, who got together to create Hurricane Esther as Storm Fury. Project Baton. The objective of Project Baton was the analysis of life history of thunderstorms. A Department of Defense research activity supported the Advanced Research of Project Agency. Project Baton sought to expand understanding of storm physics as an aid to weather forecasting, fire prevention, and possibly for artificially controlling the weather. Dr. Helmut Wickman. Look at these names. As you can tell, they are from Germany. Right? As an employee of the United States Army Signal Research and Development Laboratory and Dr. Paul McCready of Meteorology Research, Inc. were joint leaders of Project Baton team. During 1962, July-August, storm season in Flagstaff, Arizona, the scientists selected guinea pig storms and seeded them with chemicals. Effects were thoroughly analyzed from ground and from the air with the time lapse. Motion picture cameras, stereo still cameras, storm radar, lightning detectors, and airborne heat sensors. Among the agents inserted in selected clouds were condensation nuclei, which temporarily increased the number of water droplets in the cloud, pulverized dry ice, which turns a portion of the cloud to fine snow crystals that remain aloft. The utilization of these agents facilitated study of a storm's characteristics. Robert Simpson became the first director serving in this capacity until 1965. This is so weird. In 1965, there were several guidelines used in selecting storms to seed. The hurricane had to have at least 10% chance of approaching inhabited land within a day. So if the storm didn't have 10% chance, if it didn't have 10% of a chance, it was not going to be successful. And it had to be over land. As it says, hurricanes are stronger over the ocean and they're weaker over the land. But as soon as it get over the land, if it loses, if it loses 80% of its potency, it's not going to work. But if it has 90%, that means that 10% gives it a chance and it's going to be strong. If it goes under 9%, anything under 10%, it means it's not going to be a successful storm. But if it has a 10% chance, then it's going to be a success. So Robert Simpson became this first director, and they formed Hurricane Esther, Project Baton. All of these hurricanes from here on out began with Project Storm Fury. Okay? No suitable storms formed in 1962 season. Next year, Storm Fury began by conducting experiments on the cumulus clouds. And from August 17th to the 20th of that year, experiments were conducted in 11 clouds, of which 6 were seeded and 5 were controlled. And this is what they literally look like. A scientific control of experiment observation designed to minimize the effects of variables and other independent variables. They are literally creating these storms like gardens, if you will. On August 23rd, 1963, Hurricane Beulah was the site of the next seeding attempt, and it had indistinct eye wall. In addition, mistakes were made as the seedings of silver iodide were dropped in the wrong places, and as a consequence, nothing happened. The next day, another attempt was made, and the seeders hit their targets. The eye wall was observed to fall apart and be replaced by another eye wall with larger radius. And the sustained winds, what does that mean right now? Sustained winds, meaning they are sustaining those winds, meaning it's not natural, meaning they can sustain anything they fucking wanted to because they know how to control the shit. So the sustained winds also fell by 20%. All in all, the results of the experiments on Beulah were encouraging but inconclusive. In the next 6 years after Beulah, no seedings were conducted by several different reasons. And in 1964, measurements of observation equipment was not ready to be used. And the year after that, all flights were used for additional experimentations in non-hurricane clouds. All right? Wake up. That's why fall season falls flu season falls right in the middle of hurricane season. When those cloud seedings of chemicals don't work and they don't produce rain or they don't produce a storm, those noble gases stay in the air and they make you sick. The silver iodide, the barium, the aluminum, the heavy metals, the toxins stay in the air to make you sick, to create what we know as what? Flu season. You're not sick. You're just under the weather because you're being poisoned by biochemicals. Do you get it now? Yep, you get it.
But the government claimed that the hurricane shifted before they ever had a chance to seed it. And after 2 months of congressional hearings, the project was allowed to continue. In 1997, U.S. Defense
Look at his eyes.
Secretary...
Oh, my God. You got to know that's a reptile, baby. Look at his fucking eyes, dude. That is a... Look at his teeth and look at his fucking eyes. That's not a human, and you know it. That is not a fucking human, and you know it. Look at his fucking eyes. Look at his fucking eyes, dude. And you know what? Let's just, for fuck's sake, see if The Simpsons predicted this episode. Oh, really? Are you out of your mind? Stop it.
का सारा एक खेल था, एक कितना था। प्यार दुनिया वो यही है कि हम सेव समथिंग फॉर दैट टाइम, कुछ न कुछ होंगे वेदर।
Underground bunkers. What did I just tell y'all about underground bunkers? And they got an earthquake machine right there in your face. The Simpsons will never, ever fail us. Spreading that chemicals, spreading the silver iodide, barium and aluminum. Why are the jets flying so close to the house? Remember the B-52s and the B-17s? Yeah, Air Force, Aero Force, Aerospace, Space Force.
At last, those planes are flying where they belong. That's right. Over the homes of Top secret.
Not CIA weather control.
CIA weather control division, Dick speaking. Pizza storm. Oh, it's huge there. What kind is there?
Did he say pizza storm? That means pedo. Pedo, pizza storm. That means they're taking these kids when they create these storms. Not them. Whoa, did you just see that? Did you just motherfucking see that? I saw it too. He's cutting on the CHEM trails. Not wind turbines. And Donald Trump tries to downplay this. Donald Trump tried to downplay this technology. Well, let me tell you, wind turbines are used to spread the noble gases all over the places. You know that, right? And then Donald Trump talk about it's a useless technology. No, the fuck it's not. How do you think those particles are going to get spread, Donald? Now, when we add the frequency of music, remember when Travis Scott was sitting up there killing people with frequencies? Yeah, now you get it. They got the frequencies turned too high. When the government got the frequencies turned too fucking high and everybody's acting a goddamn fool, now you know how they're doing it.
I'm terrified of these people. They can control the weather.
They can control.
There you have it, right in your face.
William Cohen admitted we have the technology to control the weather, including earthquakes and volcanoes. The U.S. government has placed gag orders on employees of the National Weather Service. In October of 2012, after Hurricane Sandy weakened to a tropical storm, microwave imagery shows a thick red beam immediately followed by Sandy growing into a Category 1 hurricane and taking an unexplained left turn into New Jersey. We have had the technology to create, control.
Give me this. I need the rest of this video. Oh my God, they're not gonna give me this video, are they? Give me that clip too. I need the rest of this one. Give me that one.
125,000 acres of nothing. They even had to move 5 cemeteries because the noise they were planning on making would wake the dead. Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And as it turns out, the cleanest. Now, the most amazing thing is that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you! It's raining! That's unbelievable! Oh.
This is where HAARP is in Mississippi. This is NASA. This is HAARP. And that's why they bought up all that land in Mississippi so they can go out there and create cloud seeds, okay?
NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather.
Yep. NASA is located in Mississippi and they're making their own weather in Mississippi. Anyway. And then give me that other one.
To ask a couple questions here about HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. Several of you at the table have a little bit of a piece here. As you know, this is located up in Alaska. It's currently funded by the Air Force Research Lab. It was formerly funded by the Office of Naval Research. One of the prime customers is DARPA, which is currently running experiments.
Hold on, let me go ahead and pull up DARPA. Can't forget them. Give me that.
At the facilities. There's then to Dr. Walker and Mr. Schaefer. Then, Dr. Walker, your agency is currently running the facility. I mentioned that it's our understanding through the president of UAF that the plans are to move forward and demolish the facility this summer. So the question to you is that accurate? Can you explain why? And then perhaps to both you and Mr. Schaefer, is there any benefit in exploring a potential relationship with the University of Alaska to perhaps take over the harbor?
Thank you, Senator. The Air Force has gotten great value out of HAARP in the past. We took over from the Navy and managed it and actually did a number of experiment campaigns up there and have finished our work that we're interested in doing up there. We've moving on to other ways of managing the ionosphere, which the HAARP was really designed to do, was to inject energy into the ionosphere, be able to actually control it. And but that work has been completed.
Mr. Fletcher, another question on the in an interview with the Los Angeles Times on April 21st, you said that you told the Associated Press that the American government has created weather tampering techniques so that the New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans and to control the rest. Would you explain what you were trying to say?
Well, what I was trying to say is exactly what I said. There is weather control techniques. We have a complete package on that, which I did not bring, but I certainly will see to it that it is brought in for the record. Number one, the entire patents on the equipment. Number two, Senator Claiborne Pell's complete statement and story of his own that not only does it exist, but that we even utilize it as far back as the Vietnam War. You might want to touch base with Senator Pell.
I just want to repeat before I turn to...
So yes, but we do have all that information.
You're saying the government has created weather tampering techniques so that the, quote, New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans...
Worldwide.
Millions of Americans, and to control the rest.
Yes, sir, and that's my belief. As bizarre as that sounds, if somebody had told me that equipment even existed 10 years ago, I would have thought they were nuts, sir. And at this point in time, we have all the documents to prove it. And if you think that 85 tornadoes takes place in the middle of our growing area by simultaneous accident, I'm sorry. With the equipment that's already set up internationally, and as bizarre as that is, it is proven and documented. We will supply you with those documents. As bizarre as that is, I would say that weather wars, and this is quoting actually Senator Claiborne Pell himself, that they are the greatest weapon ever created in the world, and that's the Senator's own statement. So yes, I do stand on that.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher.
Now, DC, let me see if I can find this here. The Raw Report. It's Raw Report. Raw Report. Weather. Greg Reese Report. The Greg Reese Report. Okay. Weather. Modification. Give it to me. Come on. Greg Reese Report on my... Come on, give me that. Give me that. Give me that. Come on. Is that it?
It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite.
Found it.
That will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
There are many known ways to control the weather, and the best way to steer it seems to be with the NEXRAD Doppler Weather Radar Network.
The circular blue flashes seen in this video are frequency transmissions from the NEXRAD network of transmitter installations. The brighter the blue flash from a frequency transmission installation, the more pronounced and powerful the repelling effect on any air mass or storm in the vicinity will be. Where there are no blue flashes, there is no transmission, thus no repelling effect, thus no resistance for a migrating storm. Translation:
a migrating storm will be hindered from moving toward frequency transmissions and will easily migrate in a direction with no transmissions. So again, I ask, was Hurricane Helene's path and behavior just an act of nature, or was it engineered?
Whatever happened during Hurricane Helene, our own government is actively killing the victims of the flooding.
We're in Nashville, and I saw 2 Air Force Helicopter 60s. And I knew they were PJs, just looking at them. And I went up to them like, hey guys, like, what are y'all doing? And like, this is what you need to be doing, this is how I'm finding people. And they're like, we can't go. We're waiting on Title 10 orders. And I'm like, what? They can't get any authority. There's military helicopters all over here sitting on the ground, and they can't do nothing. Even my JSOC boys in Fayetteville, they can't get orders to come out here. It is just the most disgusting thing, and they're killing these people. And I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know what kind of conspiracy. I've heard so many things, whatever you want to come up with. But they are literally allowing these people to fucking die in the mountains right now because we can't get helicopters.
Not only is the government standing down, they are stopping others from helping. And there are even reports that the confiscated donations are being delivered to sanctuary cities.
So I'm here in the
confiscated donations. Don't forget that Taylor Swift just donated a shitload of money to the Synagogue of Satan. And make no mistake, that Red Cross, Israel, all of these emergency disaster funds, Israel, Ukraine, do not fool your fucking self. Them people are not getting those emergency relief funds, and you know it. You fucking know it.
Boone, North Carolina. I'm at the staging area. I volunteered myself and my canines to come up and do some search and rescue efforts. Obviously, you see all my equipment. So we've been told to just turn around and go the opposite direction, because what they're doing is they're confiscating everything. Like, they would confiscate all of my gear, my car, my dogs, like literally everything. There are some people who have been tracking these FEMA agents and what they do with these supplies after. And these are people that are directly associated with the group that I'm volunteering with. And essentially what they're doing is they're taking these supplies to sanctuary areas for illegal migrants and giving it all to them.
An unmarked black helicopter was caught on camera deliberately causing thousands of dollars of damage to a donation and support center. The government is no longer trying to hide. They are now killing us out in the open. And the radical Marxists working at FEMA are not really concerned with most of the people.
LGBTQIA people and people who have been disadvantaged already are struggling. They already have their own things to deal with. So you add a disaster on top of that, it's just compounding on itself.
You know, the shift that we're seeing right now is a shift in emergency management from utilitarian principles where everything is designed for the greatest good for the greatest amount of people to disaster equity.
We the people point out that they are killing us, and they complain that it's hurtful.
What kind of impact has this had on the recovery effort?
It has a tremendous impact on the comfort level of our own employees to be able to go out there, but it's also demoralizing.
Right after the government says they don't have enough money for the American people stricken by the floods, and then another storm is coming, they announce another $157 million to the people of Lebanon. Joe Biden makes another Freudian slip and says the government's response will be to increase the number and intensity of these extreme weather events.
Response is to increase the number and intensity of the extreme weather events and be where we're going to use all the resources available to the government to do it.
And many are now saying that this is exactly what they did with Milton, which is now expected to be catastrophic. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
Now, there you have it. What more do you need from your government that they're committing this kind of treason? What more do you need, people? They're not going to stop. You know this, right? You're going to have to make them stop. Some way, somehow, someday.
And steer her.
Now, moving on.
And will put
the Department of Justice of the United States back in the business of justice. We will double the Civil Rights Division and direct law enforcement to counter this extremism. We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our...
Now stop it, lady. Y'all are literally sitting up here. You are sitting up here giving out all of our money to Ukraine and Lebanon and Israel. Meanwhile, Wyoming is burning. North Carolina has been flooded for its lithium. Tampa has been taken over. Georgia has been infiltrated. California has been subdued. And Sahara Desert is now flooded. Child, please. Child, please. Over 100,000 acres of land is burning with no signs of stopping by directed energy weapons. You do know that, right? And not one media coverage has been found. Not at all. Not at all. Then they gave you the fake Northern Lights show. Remember the Georgia red sky that y'all saw last night? Yeah. Don't believe the fucking hype, because guess what? When they turn on HAARP and everyone thinks they've seen the Northern Lights, no, sweetheart, that was the government playing with you. HAARP and the Northern Lights, based on the search results, HAARP, also known as the Aurora Borealis, this is achieved by transmitting high frequency radio pulses. Remember when Crystal always say they turn the frequencies up too high? Yeah. You see, HAARP literally turned the frequencies up and had you motherfuckers hallucinating, seeing frequencies. They achieved this by transmitting high-frequency radio pulses into the ionosphere, which excites electrons and mimics the natural phenomenon that causes the Northern Lights. So what your current reality you're seeing is a delusion of them cranking up them goddamn frequencies way too fucking high. It's radio pulses. How can HAARP create artificial Northern Lights? HAARP ionosphere research instrument, IRA, is phased array at 180 HF cross dipole antennas that radiate 3.6 megawatts into the upper atmosphere, ionosphere, by modulating the ionosphere. HAARP can create artificial auroras, which are weaker than natural auroras, but can be detected with high-frequency radio sensors. Examples of HAARP's artificial Northern Lights are, in November 2013, HAARP created a display of artificial aurora, described as more brilliant than any of that had become before. And then 30-second snapshot of the artificial aurora was captured by high-frequency radio sensors in 2013. Then they got more video footage of the Aurora Borealis over HAARP Research Facility in northern Alaska, which was filmed in 2019 when they bought on COVID, which was frequency B.1.2.9. Fuck the fuck out of here. And then they called it Park Sky Glow Project, which aims to explore the effects of urban light pollution. Then you wonder why they put all the blue lights up after COVID. In summary, HAARP can artificially create Northern Lights by transmitting high-frequency radio pulses into the ionosphere, but these displays are limited in intensity duration compared to the natural aurora. Yeah, they got you. Oh, yeah, they fucking got you. And they're going to continue to get you. HAARP glow is a red or green air glow. Now, let's see what they saw in Georgia. Can we pull up a picture of what you motherfuckers saw last night in Georgia? That was it. That red sky everybody saw last night? Yeah, let me go ahead and explain that for ya. You see, HAARP glow is a red or green air glow that can be created by the high-frequency active auroral research program known as HAARP. in Gakona, Alaska. HAARP creates the air glow by using high-frequency radio pulses to excite electrons in the ionosphere, which is the area of the Earth's atmosphere that separates the planet from space. It separates the planet from the space. So they've been altering your reality for a very fucking long time. This process is similar to how the sun's solar energy creates natural aurora. The HAARP glow can be visible up to 300 miles from the HAARP facility, and it may be easier to see when looking to the side. The exact same time of day that HAARP transmits depends on the ionosphere and the geomagnetic conditions. Child, you better wake the fuck up. Your government hates you. But you're going to vote them back in for another 4 years? Not to mention, last night we had the largest U.S. power grid operator issues possible with a geomagnetic disturbance warning. Now, you're telling me the same night that we had a geomagnetic disturbance warning, we had a what? Another geomagnetic condition with a red glow of HAARP? Oh, you got to be quicker than that for Crystal. Oh, you got to be quicker than that. Geomagnetic condition? And then the grid got fried last night with a geomagnetic disturbance warning on the power grid? Yeah, you used those electrical currents to create that fucking aurora, didn't you? Yeah, you did. Listen here, General Electric. We're caught on by now. We are fully versed in your bullshit. Anywho, this is what the government has been doing to you. Marjorie Taylor Greene sent to Texas, said, yes, they can control the weather. It's ridiculous for anyone to lie and say it can't be done. Marjorie, we know this. We've been done know this. We've already know this. You don't have to confirm anything for us because we know better. Okay? We know better. And now you know why they killed Kenny Johnson, the Rockdale County soil water supervisor, why he collapsed and died after testifying at Georgia's Capitol about the chemical from the biolab fire. Well, if that chemical was literally dispersed to create what? What hurricanes do we have coming up? What storms do we have coming up lately? 1 second. All this man-made weather, hurricanes forecasted this week. Hurricane Milton, potential tropical systems, current Atlantic hurricane activity. Yeah. As of October 8, 2024, Hurricane Milton is rapidly intensified into a Category 5 hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. It is expected to make a landfall across Florida as major hurricane later this week. Yeah. And they got some more activities planned for you. Let me go ahead and find that post right there. Oh, here we are, Tropical Tracker. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tropical storms that are supposed to be coming through this week. Also, don't forget France. France had a hurricane. Isn't that not weird? How did France get a hurricane? Y'all are being silly now. Y'all are just doing way too fucking much at this point. Then don't forget. And they released the Marburg variant. Oop, let me put that in, see what they've released at. You see all these biochemicals they're putting in the air? One week ago, Marburg virus. The other one is ravine virus, RAV. Both viruses fulfill the criteria for being a member of the species Marburg because the genomes diverged from the prototype. Yeah, they're about to see. Biochemicals taking us out again, and they will not fucking stop, bro. Let me get rid of some of these tabs. And don't forget, DARPA has a hand in with HAARP. DARPA is connected to HAARP, okay? DARPA has created synthetic blood. DARPA has created sensors that can see underground. DARPA has created power exoskeletons. You remember the movie Universal Soldier with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren? Okay, that movie, remember the synopsis of this movie? Universal Soldier, and a military science fiction action film, but it's not fiction because now them fools have the perfect soldier. The film tells a story of Luke Devereaux, portrayed by Jean-Claude Van Damme, a former U.S. Army soldier who was killed in Vietnam War. There they go with that Vietnam War again. In 1969 and returned to life following a secret military project called the Universal Soldier Program. However, he finds out about his past through his memory was erased and escapes alongside a young TV journalist, Ali Walker. Along the way, they have a deal with the return of the arch enemy, Sergeant Andrew Scott, who is Dolph Lundgren, who had lost his sanity in the Vietnam War and became a psychotic megalomaniac intent on killing him and leading the Universal Soldiers. In the movie, they literally had what? The exo-external power exoskeletons, which are gear soldiers can carry. It is limited by how much a soldier can physically carry. And China has this too. Number 4, America's Manufacturing Base 2.0. America's Manufacturing Base 2.0 is where them fools were literally manufacturing weapons in China and in South America. Also, don't forget they created robot cyborg insects. Them, like these gnats that keep flying around for no fucking reason. It's insane. Mosquitoes have a fucking patent. Let's check out the patent on mosquitoes that Bill Gates currently holds. Here we go. Right here, it popped right up. Based on the provided search results, here's the concise answer. Toxic mosquitoes aerial release system, patent US 8967029B1. There you have it. DARPA. The patent was filed in 2014 and issued in 2015, describes a system for releasing mosquitoes carrying toxins or biological agents using unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, operable by remote control. The system includes a container holding a central processing unit and a mosquito breeding bin, which houses mosquitoes and mosquito food containing a toxin. The patent mentions potential applications, including immunizations against malaria by genetically modifying mosquitoes to carry a toxin that activates the human immune system. Other related patents and the applications are US 201-80116-199, issued May 3rd, 2018, a broadcasting apparatus for killing insects using high frequency sound or light waves. The literal broadcasting apparatus where the insects can literally disperse a high frequency sound or a light wave. Your government is taking you the fuck out with a quiet war with silent weapons. Also, the U.S. patent application number 201-80116-199, a method apparatus for selectively killing flying insects such as mosquitoes using high frequency sound or light waves. Okay? This is not a fucking lie. Okay? There are biological weapons, reports to take you out. To take you the fuck out. Nothing is natural. Okay? Nothing is natural, and God ain't in none of it. Because how do humans have more power than God? And it's more humans taking you out. That's why God don't control your life. If Bill Gates and them can send a mosquito to take you the fuck out, and you still want to push on this religion bullshit? Absolutely not. That's how you know this God bullshit is fake. If a mortal man can take you out, what the fuck can an immortal spirit do for you? Absolutely the fuck nothing. If a mortal can take you out, what the fuck can an immortal spirit do for you? I thought so. Nice try. Quit playing. Also, patent DE 202-201-120-1161U1 is a mosquito magnet. A mosquito magnet that literally calls the mosquitoes back to where they need to be. Patent literature on mosquito repellent inventions, which contains what? Nanoparticle technology. Oh, yeah. This shit gets sick. And it gets out there. Okay? Genetically engineered mosquitoes give Zika and other arboroviruses. Okay? Wake up. Please wake up. So DARPA created the robot cyborg insects. But don't forget, I forgot to remind you. That Elon Musk, guess what Elon Musk did? Elon Musk got the robots, the cyborgs, ready for disbursement. I can't make this up. I really can't make this up right now. But come here. Let me find it 1 second. What did I do with it? What did I do with it? It must be on the right here. Okay, and let me find it this way. Elon Musk has literally created Tesla CEO Elon Musk unveils Cybercab robo-taxis, and Elon Musk shares his vision for Optimus robots. He created iRobot. I cannot make this up. So we have cyborg. Tesla claims will start using humanoid robots next year. He debuted them today. This was 2 weeks ago that he debuted it, okay? Wake the fuck up. So if they're debuting robots and they're debuting mosquitoes and insects that are cyborgs, can you only imagine what everything else is? Ooh, child, we are in fucking trouble. Don't forget while all of this is happening, and Kamala Harris offered you $750 just as of last week. The U.S. gave Ukraine $2.4 billion. Then they turned around and gave Israel $8.7 billion. Then they gave Taiwan $567 million. They said the national debt is $35.4 trillion, and the debt per taxpayer is $269,000 per taxpayer. Why are they giving money to these three countries, but only offering you $750? Stop playing. And white folks, why are you going along with this bullshit? Have you seen all the white folks talking about I stand with Israel? They're agents of fucking evil. Let's be real. Let's be fucking real. Okay? While Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and Georgia are all suffering severe flood damage, we can all rest easy knowing that Congress will be sending new massive aid packages to Ukraine and Israel. If this doesn't show you that we are controlled by Israel, I don't know what else will. That's why Israel is not real. They are the synagogue of Satan, but you're going to keep up with this bullshit, aren't you? Want to know why Asheville, North Carolina is underwater? Because FEMA goal number 1 isn't disaster management. It's making equity the foundation of emergency management. Kamala Harris just told Americans they will be receiving $750 to those who truly need it for hurricane relief. But we can send billions to Ukraine, but Americans who have lost everything only get $750? This is a joke. If you don't overthrow your government, something is wrong right now. Did you know that FEMA spent almost $1 billion housing illegal aliens? How is that even legal? Especially when we don't even have enough money to help American citizens in North Carolina. Shut it down. Yep, FEMA just spent $941 million in 2003 and 2024 on housing illegal immigrants. Cannot make this shit up. Meanwhile, Mayorkas said FEMA doesn't have the funds to make it through hurricane season. Within the same day they posted this, it's the same day that they sent literal Ukraine and Israel billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. Are we really doing this right now? Then they had you go buy toilet paper. Toilet paper is made in the United States. Angel Soft is produced by Georgia Pacific, which is Georgia Power. Don't forget it. Which is produced in Georgia and Oklahoma. Quilted Northern toilet paper is manufactured by Georgia Power again. Georgia Pacific in Georgia. Scott Tissue is made by Kimberly Clark, which is made out of Pennsylvania. Charmin Tissue is manufactured from Procter & Gamble out of Ohio and Pennsylvania, and they're now setting up a shop in Georgia. Cottonelle is produced by Kimberly & Carton, Wisconsin and Tennessee, but they told you that the dockers who were going to close the docks, and you go rush out and buy the toilet paper, right? Because we get our toilet paper from overseas. That's what they told you. Child, this is not the truth. Toilet paper is made in the United States of America. They fooled you. Stock market crash, stock market holders, stock brokers, and that makes you what? The what? The what? The stockpiler. The stockpiler. Do you get it now? Yeah, they're casting spells on you. Homeland Security Secretary shares FEMA doesn't have enough funding to last through hurricane season. But they made sure you rushed out to get your tissue, didn't they? FEMA does not have funds to make it through hurricane season, but they sent $640 million allotted for illegal immigrants. That's weird. That is really fucking weird. And this was a week ago that Tropical Storm Milton was expected to strengthen into a Category 3 hurricane, likely making landfall near Tampa. Remember, they can plan the storm ahead of time. And they did. That should be treason. That should be automatic execution by your government, okay? Then they had Hurricane Milton already classified in Wikipedia, and it haven't even happened. Hurricane Milton didn't even happen, but they were saying Hurricane Milton is explosively intensifying an extremely powerful tropical cyclone in the Gulf of Mexico, currently impacting the Yucatan Peninsula. Do you know what's at Yucatan? Yucatan is a stargate. Remember I showed you that? The ley lines? Yeah, Yucatan is where one of the stargates is. The 13th named storm. You see that 13 right there? Boom, boom, boom. That's how you know they're performing black magic. The 13th named storm, 9th hurricane, 9th, 13, 9. Remember, Answers of the Universe in what? 3, 6, and 9, sweetheart. Yucatan Peninsula, the 13th named storm, 9th hurricane, 4th major hurricane, and 2nd Category 5 hurricane of 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. Milton formed a long-track tropical disturbance which originated in Western Caribbean Sea. Now, they put this out way before Hurricane Milton even hit. How fucked up is that? How fucked up is that? Formed October the 5th, this shit was literally out the day before of. Can't make this shit up. Can't make it up. Here it is. Hurricane Milton was an extremely powerful Category 5 hurricane that caused widespread damage across the path in October 24. Mind you, when I pull this, the hurricane haven't happened yet. They just knew it was going to happen. Remember? Because all weather is orchestrated. Yep. About Hurricane Milton, posted April 25th, 2024. Now, why are y'all talking about Hurricane Milton that never even happened April the 25th, which was a few months ago, compared to now? Oh, could it be that your reality is scripted? Could it be that the frequencies are too high and they're altering your timelines and your reality? Yeah, because I showed you where they were separating your reality with sound waves by creating the auroras. Hallucinations. The government is creating hallucinations, altering your fucking reality. This shit was so predictable that in April 24, 2024, they told you that Hurricane Milton was a Category 5 that caused widespread damage across its path in October 2024. Really? Really? April 25th, 2024? Come on, man. At least be discreet with it. At least be discreet with it. Anyway, there you have it. Talked to a friend of mine from North Carolina who has a sister that lost everything except the clothes she had and her husband were wearing. She said that a lot of the bodies that they're finding are not people from the area and nobody knows who they are. She thinks they were from the tunnels, and I think that's where the White House were flooding the tunnels, and the BH followed up with the hurricane trying to kill us as many as possible because Asheville was a major trafficking hub. Did you know that Asheville, North Carolina, just like Ukraine, was a national human trafficking hub? And the people in the town said all the dead bodies that they kept finding was not from there. How weird is that? They couldn't find people that they knew, but everybody that they found, they didn't know. There's also a huge satanic church in Asheville as well. There's more going on behind the scenes than we are aware of. And I think this next storm coming is to finish the job they started out to do so. And I hope these survivors are aware of the next storm coming. See, it's sinister shit that's going on. Do you know the mayor of Asheville, North Carolina is a Jew? Esther Mannheimer. Look at the fucking name. If you're wondering, yeah, she's part of the Zionist cult. Read her documentary. How can they have a Jew? Now, mind you, North Carolina is an indigenous meaning it's a melanated populated area. What is a Jew doing being the chief of an indigenous populated melanated area? You guessed it, colonization. Colonization at its finest.
The world is Noah doing here? I've never seen this type of flight pattern. Now, obviously, we know that it's there for the hurricane, which in less than 30 hours will become officially a Category 4 with 140 mile per hour wind. And then 12 hours from there, work its way up to 145 mile per hour winds. Now, before it hits Sarasota, Florida, they're banking on it dropping 25 miles per hour, making it a Category 3 at landfall on Wednesday, about 4 p.m., 3 p.m. of when it'll be hitting. But what is up with this flight pattern? I literally have no idea what it's doing. And you do have another one that is going to be taking off shortly, heading in that direction as well. Also, check out all the flights that are happening in the North Carolina and Tennessee mountain. Does anyone have a clue what this is? I talked about it in my live. Maybe I'll come back and talk about it again and tell y'all what it's doing. Take care. God bless.
Oh, yeah. The government has been getting down and dirty. Do you understand me? Subterranean highway found underneath the Mississippi River. Remember, they just told you, the people in Asheville said it's a lot of people, bodies that are floating up from the underground, and they have underground bunkers underground. And now all of a sudden, a subterranean highway was found underneath the Mississippi River. Yep. Astounding discoveries. 1869 remains dating back to the founding of the Assyrian Empire. At this point, the wonders began. Tunnel under Mississippi all the way to Illinois shore. Now, remember, I told you Mississippi is where the government moved the Nazis and created NASA in Alabama and Mississippi. Are you awake now? All the way to Illinois shore, blast a pattern opening to unknown subterranean passages. You better wake up. You better wake up. Oh, here's a new storm they're going to bring in. Hurricane Kirk has been upgraded to Category 4, major hurricane with sustained winds of 130 miles per hour. I can't make this up. Hurricane Kirk's coming in now. Really? Oh, my God. This is me trying to figure out how no one sees their freedoms being taken away. Listen here. Every time that FEMA steps into play, Every time that FEMA steps into play, Federal Emergency Management Agency. The following is a transcript of an audio tape with an urgent message. A pretext for invoking those emergency measures can be almost found in the daily newspaper. It can be anything from suspension of debt payments by the high bureaus of American countries to mass runs on the U.S. commercial banks. And that's an issue, by the way, that's being handled personally by the National Security Council. To food shortages, to the drug war, the whole bit, anything, any disaster emergency declared at all, even including the oil spill from the Exxon tanker in Alaska. If the president had declared a national emergency, that could have triggered it. Any instability in the Middle East, in fact, anything going on in the world, the government can declare it a federal emergency, and then that puts them in a martial law, a state of emergency where the government, the military, is ruling. Okay? And they've already tested their capabilities in April 1984 with the Rex 84A plan that was designed and tested to readiness of the U.S. civilian and military agency to respond to serious national security crisis. Okay? Now the executive order that will implement this is the Executive Order 11051 and details responsibility of the office emergency orders in effect of times of national emergency declared by the president and increase the international tensions of economical or financial crisis. Okay, wake up. Not only the thing that has to happen for FEMA to be able to implement all the executive orders and emergency executive orders is for the president to declare a national emergency of any type as long as it is a national emergency. Executive Order 10995 provides a takeover for the communications media. Now ask yourself, why do all the Jews own all of the communications media? That's not suspicious to you? That's not suspicious to you? And nobody bats an eye, right? This is weird. This is really freaking weird. But hold on. Let's see, I thought I had a video that was going to talk about that. Oh, here they come. This is a video of Kamala saying that they're going to take over social media platforms. Here we are. National emergency. They're going to take over the social media platforms.
The Department of Justice of the United States back in the business of justice. We will double the Civil Rights Division and direct law enforcement to counter this extremism.
Extremism? That's why Trump wanted to give them immunity. Because when you speak out on your social media platform, it will be known as treason against your country, and they can come and execute you because we're under FEMA. We're under military law. We're under military tribunal. Wake up.
We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy.
Why does she sound retarded and like she just can't talk? Like she don't know how to talk. Like she can't form a full sentence. It's almost disgusting. Like she got something stuck in her throat every time she tries to say a word. But for the fact that the government is up here creating weather and they telling you, they're literally trying to shame you for spreading misinformation on them creating and modifying the weather is insanity to me. That is a sociopath. That is a psychopath. That is oh my God, that's a demon.
And if you profit off of hate, if you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable.
Now, let me stop you. This is why TikTok banned my video the other fucking day. Hold on one second. This is why TikTok banned my video the other fucking day. Let me see. Videos, latest. This war is an information war. TikTok banned the fuck out of this video.
So if y'all haven't caught on yet, y'all do know that we're in an information war against the government. We are in an information war. That's why Alex Jones, even though he is a plant, he's an industry plant, all celebrities, all entertainers, if they have a platform, if the government is funding them, if they get the big money, if they're in Hollywood, if they're in that fucking club, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. They have been given, they have handlers, okay? Alex Jones has handlers. He's in that club. And his role is to pretend like, oh, I'm releasing all of this secret information the government doesn't want you to know. But here's the thing, it's the full disclosure event. Whatever the archons, whatever Yalda Bayoth Yahweh is doing to you, he has to tell you. It's a full disclosure event. Like, if I'm going to take you out, I got to tell you in advance so you can prepare. I got to at least give you a fair shot. So that's what all the political theater, the guerrilla theater, the politics, that's what all that is about. That's what all the hoorah is about, okay? And they are creating the political theater to make you jump. They're giving you a cause, and now you are the effect. They're doing the cause, and you have to do a reaction. You have to react, because there's only so many times God can give you a chance to liberate yourselves. Okay, so technically what's going on, we are in an information war, and I am one lone woman out here whooping the government's ass. They see me. They see me. And the fact that they know that my information versus their information is so deadly that they got to label me misinformation, and they got to block me, and then they got to hide me, and they got to not recommend my page, and they got to, sweep me away, because it's an information war. And if my information outwins their information, then baby, there is a big formation. Do you understand what I'm saying? Of free nationals coming together, critical thinkers coming together, free souls reaching their Christ consciousness and wearing this goddamn world out, taking it back and bringing peace on earth. That is the mission. That is your mission. You have to choose to accept it. This is an information war. You have to get smart real quick, or they will outsmart us. Okay? They're using magic. You got to use magic. They're using words. They're using words. They're using their brains. You got to use your brain. Baby, you got to outsmart these motherfuckers. It's an information war. And that's why I am one woman out here cleaning house. They know it. They know it. You got to have the best information, baby. And it's got to be factual. It's got to be truth. And it's got to be like, whoa, okay, yep, and I can validate that. You can validate that. You can see that because we're living that. It's reality. It is the reality. Yalda Bayoth created reality. And if you can reprogram your reality, you win. And they just reprogram your reality. Remember with the Aurora, the Northern Lights, by sending out frequency to make you confused and think you were in Amsterdam looking at the fucking Northern Lights. Know that. That's why it's the information wars. That's why Alex Jones named his show Info Wars. Oh, shit. And there you have it.
Around Christmas of 1532, the Inquisition of Cologne had halted the printing of Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa's masterpiece, the 3 books on occult philosophy. And through the first half of 1533, Agrippa and his ally, the Archbishop Elector of Cologne, Hermann von Wied, yes, an archbishop, successfully fought the Inquisition and had the book printed in its completion in July of 1533. One of the greatest works of Western esotericism had survived the Inquisition, but the scars of that battle can still be seen in the minor variants of the first printing, marking before and after inquisitorial interference. But by the summer of 1533, Agrippa's correspondence, how we know what happened to him.
All right, so moving along. I need to get rid of some of these dang tabs, honey. Let me try. Oh, let's finish this video.
Planned bioexperiments in India would make it likely that the connection would become apparent. Secondly, the possibility of a U.S. seeding aircraft being downed cannot be discounted. Thirdly, there is virtually no aspect of military operations in Southeast Asia which has not over time become the subject of leaks, or at least of speculation in the press.
That's why they can't have leaks in the press. They can't have you sending out misinformation, because under Executive Order 10997, it provides for the takeover of all electric, power, petroleum, gas, fuels, minerals, communications, media, food resources and farms, models of transportation, control of highways and seaports. Remember, they just did the strike at the docks, right? Well, that was staged. That was fake and staged. It was fake and staged. You better wake up. You better wake up.
Operation Popeye is thought to be the first known successful application of weather control technology in warfare. The first flight of the operation took off on March 20th, 1967. A total of 2,602 flights were made in 5 monsoon seasons, from March to November. The 54th Weather Reconnaissance Squadron executed the cloud seeding procedure using the slogan, "Make mud, not war." Within their squadron, the operation was codenamed Motor Pool. 3 Lockheed C-130 Hercules aircraft and 2 McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom aircraft.
Now, why do you think Lockheed and Martin and Boeing and the DOD, DARPA and HARP all work together to do what? Create things that can control the fucking weather. Hello. Okay?
Based in Udon Thani Royal Thai Air Force Base were altered and fitted with silver iodide ejectors. The 5 cloud seeding jets had the standard Southeast Asia camouflage colors and markings, but no unit identifiers, likely because the operation was top secret. The squadron flew 2 rainmaking operations per day, while also generating report data, which they presented to their superiors. The flights were officially logged in as standard weather reconnaissance flights. The Viet Cong would not know where the rain was coming from. The initial range of operations for Popeye was the eastern half of the Laotian Panhandle. 4 months after the first official flight, the area of intervention was increased toward North Vietnam. In September 1967, the Ao Sha Valley in South Vietnam was also added to the mix. As bomb operations over North Vietnam expanded, that area was eliminated from the list on April 1st, 1968. Likewise, the southern region to North Vietnam became part of the operational site for only a couple of months. In 1972, northeastern Cambodia was added to the operational zone. A total of 47,409 units of cloud seed cartridges were expended. The operation's details were so secret that the soldiers who got selected to participate were usually kept in the dark until the last minute. Everyone had their own theory about what Operation Popeye was really about. Soldier Howard Kibble said, quote, "I had fleeting thoughts of flying over China, working for the CIA, you name it. But I signed a statement and found out that I was going to make rain. Geez, I thought they were kidding." Ethical and environmental concerns were Operation Popeye's downfall. An article in the Washington Post in 1971 by reporter Jack Anderson revealed that the U.S. was engaged in clandestine weather weaponization in Vietnam. The information was corroborated by the Pentagon Papers leak released by Daniel Ellsberg. The following year, in July of 1972, journalist Seymour Hersh reported in the New York Times about Operation Popeye using the headline, "Rainmaking is used as a weapon by the U.S." The article describes how some officials opposed the radical idea and even doubted its effectiveness due to the unknown long-term consequences, stating, quote, "Despite years of experiments with rainmaking in the U.S. and elsewhere, scientists are not sure they understand its long-term effect on the ecology of a region." A few days after the story's publication, the entire program was officially ended, and all cloud seeding missions stopped. Silver iodide, a material used in cloud seeding condensation, is known to be toxic to aquatic life. So when used in the long term, precipitation from seeded clouds could harm the environment. The news caught the eye of Democratic Senator Claiborne Pell, who demanded to have the specifications of Operation Popeye officially declassified and released to the public. As one of the leaders of the operation, Lieutenant Harry Edward Soyster was asked to testify in front of the Committee on Foreign Relations. He told them everything he knew. The Cost of Operation Popeye was about $3.6 million per year, which included the operation and maintenance of the modified jets, purchase of seating materials, and pay for the people involved in the project. The timing of all these public announcements did not work out well for the Department of Defense. In 1972, the environmental boom in America was burgeoning. In addition, the Nixon administration was already struggling with the beginning stages of the infamous Watergate scandal.
Stop it. Watergate was the pedophile. Nixon was a pedophile. And they said he was doing the worst. They said he was worse than Biden, baby. They said the things he was doing to them kids was so bad. That's why he had to resign. And that's why they had to create Watergate to lie to you, because he was raping the fuck out of them kids. And they said it was horrendous. They said he was fucking horrendous, and they made him resign. That's how bad it was.
When the public, especially environmental activists, found out that America had secretly been playing God and altering the weather in Vietnam, they were outraged. The operations were dubbed the Watergate of weather warfare. Operation Popeye was officially terminated on July 5th, 1972. In 1977, the U.S. joined the Environmental Modification Convention Treaty, or ENMOD, an international treaty which formally banned weather modification for malicious purposes. The agreement banned causing earthquakes and tsunamis, steering hurricanes, or tampering with the ionosphere. It also prohibited any kind of severe damage to the environment. Since cloud seeding has never been used in warfare again, the results cannot be measured or compared. Author James Roger Fleming agreed, stating, quote, "Although some claim that Operation Popeye induced from 1 to 7 inches of additional rainfall annually along the Ho Chi Minh Trail, no scientific data were collected to verify the claim." Even if Operation Popeye did help a few U.S. victories in Vietnam, the fact that it is impossible to determine, its extreme secrecy and denials by the military and the government resulted in a significant strategic defeat for climatic modification with military purposes.
Your government is profoundly, deeply in the goddamn business of modifying weather. Oh, chap. Oh, we know. CBS News airs segment admitting weather can be controlled with lasers. That's how they did that Wyoming fire that you've been seeing. An 11-year-old CBS News report has resurfaced in which scientists admitted that the U.S. government uses lasers to manipulate the weather. The CBS This Morning segment is being revisited in the wake of the Biden pushing back against weather modification claims from Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, representative of Georgia, insisting on Wednesday the government doesn't have the ability to control the weather. In the report, physicist Michiko Kaku admitted the extremely high voltage lasers that can be used to influence weather events, including causing rain and lightning. Let's hear it.
You know, they were talking about climate change yesterday, and now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning. CBS This Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, nice to see you. Extraordinary seeing Al Gore and Bill Clinton there together with Charlie, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they did not get into this discussion, though. But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really? To change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning. Go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the story
look at him
that
scratching
China
his
had
head.
used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War to wash out
Which I just showed you that. Okay?
the Viet Cong. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to,
right.
Yeah.
Now,
Not alleged to. I just showed you the actual film of Vietnam and them using the weather modification tools. Are we for real?
realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control, but nothing conclusive. This time we're bringing in the laws of physics rather than simply waving our hands and uttering mumbo jumbo. We're actually using trillion-watt lasers now. And
He's literally telling her, shut the fuck up, bitch. This is not mumbo jumbo. We're actually using lasers instead of alleging by word of mouth, bitch. He just crushed her. He just literally crushed. Did you hear him crush her? Tell me, bitch, we're not talking about no mumbo jumbo. Bitch, we're using directed energy weapons to cause droughts, ho. Thank you, Machiko.
laboratory, sure enough, they precipitate rain out of water vapor. Sure enough, you can actually bring down electricity down the beam.
So what does it mean for drought areas that need to have rain for crops, and if they don't have them, there's the consequences of famine?
Well, the bad news is if it's a clear blue sky, it's not going to do anything at all because it only takes water vapor that's already in the air and condenses it. However, for floods, for agriculture, farmers, for people planning wedding parties, football games, you name it, outdoor events and agriculture and flooding and even hurricanes, all of them could be subject to weather modification.
Incredibly interesting, Professor Michio Kaku. Thank you so much.
And there you have it. The government doing the fucking most.
Now the claims are getting even more bizarre. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, a congresswoman of Georgia, is now saying the federal government is literally controlling the weather. We're controlling the weather. It's beyond ridiculous. It's got to stop. Moments like this, there are no red or blue states. There's one United States of America, where neighbors are helping neighbors. Volunteers and first responders are risking everything, including their own lives, to help their fellow Americans. State, local, and federal officials are standing side by side. Let me repeat, no one should make the American people question whether their governments will make sure that this disaster when it strikes, they'll be there. We will.
Ooh, child, we sick of y'all. We is so sick of you motherfuckers. It's not even funny. Anyway, leaked emails prove Democrats conspired to slow down the Hurricane Helene responses in North Carolina. Yeah, it keeps coming on out. Leaked emails revealed that the Democrats and Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina intentionally slowed down the response to Hurricane Helene in western North Carolina for political purposes. The leaked correspondence shows the BCBS NC coordinating directly with Democrat Governor Roy Cooper's office to limit volunteer efforts and delay disaster relief in 25 countries devastated by the hurricane. Emails between the BCBS and NC executives included CEO Dr. Tunde Softunde and Director of Community Engagement Shara Paquat. Reveals BCBS plans to coordinate disasters relief in the way that would intentionally slow the recovery process. This coordination deliberately restricted the speed and scope of the recovery, despite acknowledging internally that this would delay relief by 4 to 6 weeks. Your government is doing this on their own. On their fucking own. Okay? Also, Harp Insider admits Hurricane Milton part of weather warfare plot to collapse society. We already know that weather warfare has begun. Let's hear about it.
Multiple HAARP whistleblowers have sounded the alarm, warning that a wave of man-made extreme weather events is on the horizon. These events are expected to grow in both frequency and intensity, with the goal of causing widespread destruction, triggering economic collapse, and reducing populations in targeted areas designated as kill zones, all within a short period of time. According to the globalists, the most convenient part of this carefully orchestrated plan is their built-in plausible deniability. Anyone who dares to point a finger will be branded a conspiracy theorist, labelled dangerous, and potentially sent to internment camps. But there's just one problem for the elites. We've got all the evidence we need. From government documents to undeniable proof, we can show that they are manipulating the weather. Hurricanes Helene and Milton, the blood is on their hands. Before we dive in, join the People's Voice Locals community if you haven't already, and sign up to become a member of the world's first ever cyber nation that truly believes in life, liberty, and the pursuit of your dreams. Visit joson.com and click the Join Us button today. It's completely free. In the aftermath of Hurricane Helene's unnatural behaviour and Hurricane Milton's unprecedented characteristics, one has to wonder, why are thousands of dead birds suddenly falling from the sky over a cruise ship that's set to sail from Tampa, Florida? The short answer is that this is exactly what happens when HAARP's high-frequency radio waves interact with charged particles in the ionosphere, causing localized changes that unnaturally alter atmospheric behavior.
Winds in the east, mist coming in, like something is brewing, about to begin. Can't put me finger on what lies in store. I feel what's to happen. All happened before.
For years, HAARP was merely a test run, used on foreign populations during wartime while the technology was still in its early stages. Now, with globalists entrenched in high office across America, HAARP has been recalibrated for a more sinister purpose, targeting domestic populations with devastating precision. The coming weather events will be so extreme and happen in such rapid succession that humanity won't even have time to comprehend what's happening. Globalists within the US government are waging a silent war against the American people, strategically targeting areas for maximum destruction from their so-called laboratory without walls.
A couple questions here about HAARP, the High Frequency Active Aurora Research Program. This is located up in Alaska. It's currently funded by the Air Force Research Lab. It was formerly funded by the Office of Naval Research. One of the prime customers is DARPA, which is currently running experiments at the facilities. To start with you, Dr. Prabhakar, I understand that a lot of folks here on the committee probably don't understand what HAARP does. I think most Alaskans don't really know what HAARP does or why the agency is involved in it. So a very brief explanation.
One of our programs has been using the HAARP facility for the research that it's pursuing. And my understanding is that we did get value out of that interaction.
Dr. Walker, your agency is currently running the facility.
The Air Force has gotten great value out of HAARP in the past. We took over from the Navy and managed it and actually did a number of experiment campaigns up there, moving on to other ways of managing the ionosphere, which the HAARP was really designed to do, was to inject energy into the ionosphere, be able to actually control it. With DARPA completing their project, that's our last government customer that we have in the site.
It basically makes the ionosphere a laboratory, and we can do experiments that no one else can do. It's a laboratory without walls.
Yes, this has been planned and perfected for years. They've fine-tuned the technology, and they're now prepared to unleash a series of catastrophic weather events designed to wipe most of us out.
Man is on a quest to play God, to control the weather and use it as a weapon. Lightning, torrential rains, hurricanes, targeted at the enemy.
The ultimate war is if you never have to fire a round and nobody ever knew you launched the fight.
Is it possible there have already been attacks using weather weapons?
Some people believe that Katrina was weather warfare at its most potent.
But how do we get from understanding extreme weather to making it do our bidding?
Earthquakes, tidal waves, those become the future of warfare.
They built the bomb, HAARP, right under our noses, while holding political congressional hearings, and the mainstream media was gaslighting the public by dismissing it all as conspiracy theories. Now, according to a whistleblower from within the research facility, the higher-ups are ready to flip the switch and tear everything apart.
Has now taken a dangerous turn. The technology we use, the high-frequency transmitters designed to interact with charged particles in the upper atmosphere, was originally meant to help us understand natural phenomena like solar storms and improve communications. But recently, I've seen signs that my employers are taking this in a more dangerous direction, using HAARP for purposes that raise serious concerns. We've always known that by heating specific areas of the ionosphere, we could influence radio wave propagation and cause localized changes. What terrifies me is that they've modified the technology and it's no longer just about research. The data we're collecting is being used to precisely target areas within the US. And it's clear the intention is to cause harm, not study natural events. Since the handover to the University of Alaska, it's been easier for them to obscure their true intentions. But the truth is, HAARP still has the power to manipulate the ionosphere in ways the public doesn't understand. I'm seeing experiments that go far beyond harmless scientific study. The extreme weather patterns, sudden atmospheric disturbances, they're not coincidences. They're calculated. The ionospheric research instrument isn't just for stirring up small patches of the ionosphere. It has the potential for destruction on a scale the world hasn't seen since the age of atomic weapons. HAARP is now being weaponized, causing the very chaos it was meant to help prevent. My conscience won't let me stay silent any longer. This technology, in the wrong hands, is capable of devastating entire
There's that aurora they created last night in Georgia.
populations, and I fear that's exactly what's happening.
If you think that's unsettling, just wait till you learn what HAARP is doing in Antarctica. The level of control they have over the world is beyond anything you can imagine. Today's sponsor is PillsForever.com. If you think Big Pharma have your best interests at heart, think again. Under Biden, the price of medicine in America has skyrocketed, and there are certain medicines Big Pharma don't want you to know about. That's why I've partnered with PillsForever.com. All of their FDA-approved medicines are the cheapest you'll find anywhere. More importantly, you can order medicines that Big Pharma don't want you to have, such as ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and benzbendazole. Speaking of benzbendazole, not only does it get rid of parasites that live inside your body, there have been studies that show benzbendazole can help with cancer. Listen to this testimony of Joe Tippins, a cancer survivor, thanks to benzbendazole.
2 years ago, Joe Tippins.
Hey, so listen here. Viral Reject is literally the generic brand of hydrochloroquine. You're welcome. Yes, that's why Viral Reject is a parasitic detox, because hydrochloroquine is a dewormer. Therefore, Viral Reject is a natural dewormer. You're welcome. That's why I keep pushing it to you. And look, it costs $1 a fucking pill. But you go get hydrochloroquine and you can't. Because you know why? Why would they give you the cure? Huh? Or you think their medicines will really work? It will not. You think they would make you sick and then give you the cure? No. Go ahead and get you viralreject.net. Same thing as hydrochloroquine. You'll thank me later, okay? All right, moving along there.
Yeah.
In 1983, I did radiotomography with 30 watts, looking for oil in the ground. I found 26 oil wells over a 9-state area, and 100% of the time was accurate with just 30 watts of power beaming straight into solid rock. HAARP uses 1 billion watts beamed straight into the ionosphere for experiments. Picture these strings on the piano as layers of the earth. Each one has its own frequency. What we used to do is beam radio waves into the ground, and it would vibrate any strings that were present in the ground. We might get a sound back like, and we'd say, That's natural gas. We might get a sound back like, and we say that's crude oil. We were able to identify each frequency. We accomplished this with just 30 watts of radio power. If you do this with 1 billion watts, the vibrations are so violent that the entire piano would shake. In fact, the whole house would shake. In fact, the vibrations could be so severe underground that could even cause an earthquake.
Eric Hecker worked as a contractor for the National Science Foundation and spent time at the top secret research base in Antarctica. What he has to say about the nefarious weapons of war being deployed from the South Pole needs to be shared with the entire world.
I'm very happy that you're giving me this attention and this information attention because it needs to get out to the world. I will start, since we have to be brief. I have already given all pertinent information and supporting documentation to the Senate Intelligence Committee and AARO. They informed me that all of my information will be recorded for public record and shared with Congress. It is that important. In 2010, I was selected to go down to the South Pole Station in Antarctica for an entire year by Raytheon Polar Services as an employee of a third-party contractor for the National Science Foundation. I functioned in a dual-role capacity as a tradesman and a firefighter. My responsibilities required me to be more informed than most of my crew and offered me complete access to the facilities. What I learned from this unique experience needs to be shared with the entire world. The technology at the South Pole Station certainly can do what it is presented as its primary purposes, and unfortunately, much more. The IceCube neutrino detector is presented as a passive listening device for the purposes of the science as presented. But I'm going to skip right through the chase, folks. I provided documentation that proves that the 5,160, what they call DOMs, that are embedded in the ice can actually transmit at 2,047 volts each. That gives us a long list of things to consider. It is effectively a multifaceted directed energy weapons platform that I will list rapidly a few things that it can do. Vehicle detection. We're learning that these off-world craft, on-world craft, ours or other nations, are also emitting neutrinos. So this makes the South Pole Station effectively an air traffic control station for this new level of equipment that nobody's discussing. In addition to the ability to detect neutrinos and the exotic vehicles, I provided documentation that shows that this is also a system for faster than light communications. In the past, Gary McKinnon has hacked NASA, found the off-world fleet, the list of captains, and it's apparent that if we have faster than light vehicles moving throughout the system, we're going to need faster than light communications. This is that facility. Unfortunately, I have other bad news. The season that I was there, 2010 to 2011, we converted from construction to operations and maintenance in both the elevated station and the detector array. Unfortunately, when they first fired it up, that was when we had the earthquakes in Christchurch, New Zealand. There was 2 incidental shots before they were able to target it correctly. This is an earthquake generating device as well. This is the weapons of war that we have to deal with now and what Raytheon's hiding. There's an ELF system at the South Pole Station that when I arrived, I was told it was off, dismantled, and completely defunct. In my work, I will rapidly just tell you, I had to figure out the circuitry for certain other repairs, and I found that this system is in fact completely energized, up and running, and being utilized with the other systems for nefarious purposes as well. The Atmospheric Research Observatory is in what we call the clean air sector. I witnessed myself a very powerful green laser shooting out of the top of this facility into the cosmos. This, I believe, is a secondary form of long-range communications and or a defense system. I am not saying that we need to be scared of anything that's out there, but please understand the military-industrial complex is happy to invest all of your money in alleviating their fears. A question of power comes into play for all of these facilities that are present. I assure you, I knew what was going on. I knew the load demands of the facility, and all of these new items exceed the demand for the systems that I was presented. I am doing due diligence and research. I believe there is either a secondary power supply there that is either nuclear, that was there prior to the start of the Antarctic Treaty, which prohibits such things, and or that there is some sort of exotic power supply system there that just is not in the verbiage of the treaty, so it negates the responsibility to the parties involved.
Under the influence of the New World Order, globalist traitors are turning weather into a weapon, using advanced technologies like HAARP to manipulate natural forces. With exotic power sources and capabilities once considered science fiction, they're targeting strategic regions, causing destruction on an unimaginable scale. In the pursuit of global domination, these forces have betrayed America, putting the very people they should protect in the crosshairs of a war waged with the elements. Here at The People's Voice, we are determined to continue exposing the elite, but we need your help. Subscribe to the...
And there you freaking have it in a nutshell. All right. Well, that's going to conclude us for today. Our due diligence has been done. In the end, it's your fucking government, dude. It's the fucking government. All right. If you like what we do here at What You Meme News and you want to see more of What You Meme News and you say, hey, you know, I would rather donate to this lady than all the other corrupted, other evil corporations that is taking our money and killing us, you can do so by hitting that Cash App $ Scorpion Goddess 17. Or you can buy some Viral Reject, that is a parasite dewormer, anti-cancer, antibacterial, antiviral, okay, and pulls that nanoparticle technology out of your body. You can purchase Viral Reject at viralreject.net or leave the comment VR in the comments and I'll ring you up in the comments. Other than that, we've enjoyed you. Hope you enjoyed it. It's a little too late to try to take this video. It's already over with. So there's been another edition of What You Meme News. I'm your amazing host here in Crystal Clear. We're out, baby. We're out. Be safe out here in these streets. Be safe.